of American Motorsports, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Victory lane for that race, the NASCAR Xfinity. Saturday afternoon here at the world's greatest race course. Welcome to Countdown to Green from Indianapolis. Gasoline Alley is buzzing. The IndyCar machines headed back to their transporters, and the NASCAR Xfinity cars are on the grid for one of the best weekends on the calendar, the IndyCar NASCAR triple header here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Marty Snyder along with the two Hall of Famers, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Dale Jarrett, the man who invented kissing the bricks. TJ, what's the coolest part about this crossover weekend as a former Indy winner?
I think just showing the difference. We have three different types of race cars, even though two of them are basically stock cars. The Xfinity cars and the Cup cars now are quite a bit different. But to see the Indy cars run here, that give the fans a different perspective of different forms of motorsports, is a great crossover. I think the drivers, the teams enjoy seeing the other forms of motorsports, and the competitors, what they have to do to get here and be a part of this too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, just in my time of being around the IndyCar series a little bit more over the last couple of years, I've made some great friendships. And when we can be at the same place at the same time, saying hello to everybody, it's just good. It just feels good. I think both series can help each other racing on the same weekend. You bring in their fans, we bring in our fans, and they may see each other's respective sports for the very first time. So I think it's a win-win across the board.
Next up, the young stars of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Junior, why has the Indy road course become the epicenter of chaos when it comes to road courses in NASCAR all of a sudden?
We don't have to look far. Down there in turn one is pretty much where most of the chaos happens, but this is a tricky little racetrack. Problems can jump out and catch you about anywhere. There's some really, really tough corners, difficult braking zones, but the restarts for turn one have been just chaotic, and that really starts to spill over into the final stage. The intensity always ramps up in that final stage, and we're liable to see it again today.
So a moment ago, we were on the yard of bricks, and if you thought that perspective was cool, right on the start-finish line at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, how about 10 stories up on the top of the pagoda? That's where we find Jeff Burton. Afternoon, Jeff.
It's great to be here. I'm standing on top of the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway pagoda. It towers 200 feet above this historic facility. And as a stock car driver, you come here as a guest. You're racing on the past, the history that open wheel racing has built. Their greatest have won at this racetrack. It's an honor and a privilege to be at what many consider to be the world's most famous racetrack. But it's a test. It's tough. You just heard Junior talking about turn one. This whole facility is tough. You're going to have to be tough to tackle it. And think about this. In 1909, people started winning races and losing races here. If you win here, it can be a career-changing moment. This is one of the most historic facilities in the world, and you better appreciate being here because it is truly an honor.
Well, Jeff, if road course racing in the Xfinity Series this year is any precursor, you'll have a good view for all the chaos that might unfold this afternoon.
Chaos at Road America. Spinning already.
Stuck.
The car caught on fire.
Ollie. Break.
He got punted off of the course. Justin Allgaier spins and Cameron's off. Allmendinger being stalked by Byron.
Tell him it's not over yet.
Oh, hell yeah! 3 wide for the lead. Custer is going to come out on the other side.
Nice move. Oh, yeah.
What an incredible lap. Looking for his first victory. It's going to come for Sam Mayer.
Well, you can see the 20 car in there, John Hunter Nemechek. So he was a part of the chaos before. I know you want to avoid that today. What type of opportunity does Indy provide for you today?
I don't know. I'm going to have to adapt fast. The only laps I have around this place are on a simulator, in the rain today on wets, and then dry racetrack but on wet tires. So still don't know exactly where the grip level is with our Toyota GR Supra, but the guys from Joe Gibbs Racing have been working hard. Mo1 scheme looks absolutely amazing, and hopefully it'll be as fast as Xfinity 10G today during the race. We just got to stay on top of strategy. I definitely think you're going to see a lot different strategies today with no stage cautions or stage breaks, I should say. So definitely going to be interesting, but Ben and the boys will hopefully tune me in. Hopefully I can do a good job, adapt, and go try and get another win. If not, we just need a really solid day. The road courses haven't been too nice to us this year, so for me it's go out and execute.
the pressure of the playoffs is coming, but could you have imagined a regular season with 5 wins?
Yes and no. We set out some goals at the beginning of the year with this 20 team for myself and internal at Joe Gibbs Racing, and we're going to try and do everything we can to fully execute those and get to where we want to be. We haven't met those goals yet, so definitely want some more wins and want to be hoisting the big trophy at the end of the year come Phoenix. So a long way to go, a lot of races to go, but hopefully we can keep the consistency going, have some more solid runs, and go put our Toyota GR Supra in victory lane some more.
Right now, John Hunter is tied at the points top with the driver standing by with Kim Kuhn.
That's right, Dave. That would be Austin Hill. So tied with John Hunter. What do you and the team have to do to separate yourselves and create a separation on the regular season points going for that regular season championship?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just maximizing our points in stage 1 and 2, and then finishing, the race off the way that we've been doing all year. We've been really consistent with our Ace Duran Chevrolet, and I think that today's going to be one of those days that you got to keep it on the racetrack and maximize the points. We're already up front where we need to be. We just got to stay up front all day long. Pit crew's been incredible all year, so have great pit stops each and every week for these next few races that are coming up. And like I said, as long as we just keep doing our job, keep doing the things that we know that we can control, it should work itself out. So feel really good about where we're at with everybody at RCR and ECR. And, we've had a good year, but we just got to get ready for the playoffs. There's some areas that we want to be better at. So we're still chipping away at that. That way when playoffs comes, we can be ready to fire.
Top 10s in the last 4 road course races. And, oh, by the way, 3 of those were top 5s. What have you guys found or hit on when you're turning left and right?
Yeah, so at the start of the season, we were kind of going down this one path. The 2, my teammate Sheldon, he kind of hit up on a few things, so we kind of went his route a little bit. For whatever reason, it just didn't work for me and the way I drive a race car. So we started going our own path, started finding some things that started working, and I was able to key off of. So we've kind of stuck to that. We still need to be better to win these races, but there's some things this weekend that we've kind of tweaked on and worked on a little bit more. Don't really know what we got yet just because it was wet when we did our practice and qualifying efforts. So I'm not going to really know what my package is like until we go green, which a lot of these other guys are kind of fighting that same issue. But hopefully all the sim work, simulation work, everything that we've done back at the shop kind of correlates going into this race today, and we can have a stout day and try to get our 5th. We got to catch back up to John Hunter.
Marty, they roll off from the 4th position.
So Junior was not lying. I mean, this is crazy. After 21 events and 4,600 miles of racing, the regular season points are tied. I mean, that's just insane to think about. Who has the edge, though, between these two to win the regular season title?
I give it to John Hunter Nemechek. He has raced for his family team growing up, and he always had to put those cars on his back to be able to get the results. He doesn't have to do that driving a Joe Gibbs race car. It's always going to be fast, and I think it's taken him the half of the year to understand that. He doesn't have to push as hard as he's pushing every single corner. And so we've seen some good success over the last several weeks. He's building confidence, and he's also starting to understand how to put full races together and let the car do a lot of the work. I think going into the playoffs or leading up to the playoffs, he's absolutely the driver on top.
Yeah, I think if you look at these next 5 races, they certainly line up for John Hunter a lot better. You have to give Austin Hill the edge at Daytona, where he's just superior to most that are in the field there. But I'm going to say this. You can't count Austin Hill out. I saw just a couple of weeks ago when we were doing the Road America race that it looked like Austin Hill was struggling. He got spun out. He was going to have a bad finish, a bad day. John Hunter's got a fast car up in the top 5. All of a sudden, John Hunter makes a couple of mistakes, runs off the course. He's out of the race, and Austin Hill comes back with a top 10 finish. So don't count this man out. He is a bulldog, and he goes after it. He's going to be there.
Well, that's the battle at the top of the standings. When we come back, we'll talk about the battle on the other end of the playoff picture. Which driver needs to turn things around before it's too late? We'll discuss that next. Crossover weekend in full effect here at IMS. Earlier today, Daniel Suarez won the pole for tomorrow's Cup Series race on NBC Sports. Then it was IndyCar's turn. Scott Dixon, the first driver to chalk up a win this weekend. And now the NASCAR Xfinity Series will get their shot to kiss the bricks. A.J. Allmendinger on the pole. Green flag coming up shortly. Junior, here's how the playoff leaderboard shapes up for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, if you're looking at this, you're obviously looking at how many playoff points do you have. Those are going to help you get through the rounds later into the playoffs, and some drivers have a better advantage than others. I mean, that's when you're starting to count. Some of these drivers, they don't want to look at that number. Sam Mayer, Jeff Burton, they ain't got many. Right. So they don't need to be looking at that.
Boy, DJ, it's been a free fall for Sheldon Creed lately.
Man, it's kind of been hard to watch because this young man is so competitive, but he had a nice little lead. He was up there at one point, 73 points to the good. But that has been a free fall from that point forward. I think there's a couple of things. I think pressure's getting to him a little bit to perform. His teammates winning races and doing really well, tied for the points lead in the regular season. And the other side of it is he's seen this lead go away. So just relax, do what you do. He's a really good race driver. Let's see how he handles today.
What's the plan to turn things around? Sheldon Creed is with Dave Burns.
And let's check with him. The numbers, of course, do not lie. It's been a bit of a slide lately. So is the slide stopping? How do you turn it around?
I hope so, right? We've been mediocre at best as of late, but came with a new approach today. Just tried to, start slow and just build and feel the car and just try to attack from there. So a wet qualifying practice session this morning, rolling off 9th, and just gonna, try to be patient and smooth and work our way up through there.
Marty, he said a top 10 starting spot. That is a good beginning.
Yeah, that certainly will help, Dave. And 5 races to go in the regular season, Junior, and a very interesting mix of tracks left for the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, a couple of road courses that'll suit several drivers, and they're looking to capitalize on those. And then you go to Daytona where anything can happen and will. Darlington and Kansas, 2 racetracks where the drivers really enjoy racing at, but those will be an important 2 races leading up to the playoffs where we're going to be watching that bubble battle.
With that said, let's play a little on the clock. How do those 5 races lay out for the bubble drivers as they fight for a playoff spot? DJ, we'll start with you and Brandon Jones.
Yeah, it's been a tough year for Brandon. I mean, they're a good race driver, and a lot of these tracks kind of line up well for him. I think he runs good at Darlington. He's always a threat at Daytona, so you give him that. And Kansas is a place that maybe he outperforms everybody else. He's going to have to pull a rabbit out of his hat, though. He's going to need a win to get in the playoffs.
Yeah, Parker Klingerman, obviously, is a driver we'll be watching, and he, too, is strong at the road courses. He wants to capitalize in these 2 weeks here at Indy and at the Glen. I think that he can match Creed if that's who he's paying attention to. I believe that he can go and match Creed at all of the other racetracks, Daytona, Darlington, Kansas. That's his pathway to make the playoffs.
Yeah, we just heard from Sheldon Creed, and we talked about it. He was 73 points ahead at one time, but he has the talent. He has the team. Richard Childress Racing is behind this young man. Just relax, do what you do best, and find yourself in that position. Just give yourself a chance.
Yeah, Riley Herbst is a guy that will top 10 you into oblivion. I mean, he's a much better race car driver this year than we've seen in the past, but I think he's really matured enough to be able to put the numbers together week in and week out. And so I think, he's an improving driver, but is that enough? Once you make the playoff, he wants more than just making the playoffs. He wants to really shine this year.
One driver not worried at points at all is Ross Chastain, the Cup Series driver doing a little moonlighting on a Saturday afternoon. Right now, he's with Kim Kuhn.
And Marty, earlier in the day for the Xfinity Series, they practiced and qualified on wet weather tires. I know the cars are different, but how beneficial to be able to practice and qualifying on the Cup side of things, to see comfortability on the racetrack?
Yeah, it's everything, Kim, for just laps on track. It did not translate to lap time in the Cup car for qualifying, but it helps me a ton. So, for everybody on the Skip Barber Racing School car, to be a graduate of the Skip Barber Racing School, you probably should have some speed when you come race in your series, so it's cool to do. I still go to the school, and I'm only 1 spot behind Cole Custer, so that's even more important.
All right, that's Ross Chastain. And Marty, he's got a great record here. Top 10 finishes in both his Indy road course starts in the Xfinity Series.
Chastain racing today. Kim will obviously race tomorrow. So, Junior, I want to know, it's also the case for Ty Gibbs and A.J. Allmendinger, who need points. They need a win to be able to make the playoffs. Do these laps on Saturday help or hurt?
I think they help because they changed the start-finish line, at least the restart zone. They've moved that. And that's going to affect the restarts and what you can and can't do and what you're capable of doing down in turn 1. They'll know more after this race than their Cup counterparts. So there'll be something for the Cup guys to watch, but they won't be out on the track learning this. And so that's a little advantage. But if you aren't fast here, if you don't feel like you get around this track really well, you got to get more laps. Even A.J. Allmendinger told us today, more laps never hurts.
Yeah, never hurts. Anything that you can do to be on this racetrack, because it's not somewhere they've raced a lot. I know A.J. has as much experience here as anyone, but it never hurts to get your sight lines down. And as you pointed out, that new restart zone is going to be completely different for him, and it's going to be different from when you're in the front, in the middle, and possibly in the back. So learn as much as you can today.
Well, Indiana sports so rich in tradition. Of course, college sports with 10 Division I schools in the state, including Notre Dame, and about 6 miles from here, Butler as well. 8 times the city has hosted the Final Four. Peyton Manning and his Colts winning the Super Bowl in 2007. Of course, Reggie Miller and the Pacers, who can forget that. And here for it all, in fact, over 100 years of history, the heartbeat of the town, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
When you talk about Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's the most famous racing facility in the world.
Oh, man, 4 wide coming out of 1.
Oh, boy.
Wow. Then around goes Ty Gibbs right in front of the field.
Wow, that was crazy. Everybody just fighting for space.
Is there any more meaningful place to you than winning here at Indianapolis?
Let's go! One Indy. Wow! Yes! Let's go! Yeah! Yeah, let's go!
A win at Indy, it means everything. The world's greatest race course getting set for green flag number 2 of the combo weekend. IndyCar, NASCAR Xfinity, and NASCAR Cup Series. And you see right there about 18 minutes or so to the green flag for the Xfinity Series. Boy, DJ, it's been a rough few weeks for Justin Allgaier in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, it really has been, and you hate to see drivers, talented drivers, go through things like this, but if you stay around long enough, you're going to have things. So this started out at Loudon, New Hampshire. You can see a little long coming in. They started working on the car, got a penalty there. Pocono, they found themselves back in traffic on a restart here, got into the wall. Road America, probably the fastest car all day long, led a ton of laps at the end of the race, made a mistake there, and then the pit crew mistake here got them in a position that hurt them, had to do a pass-through penalty, and then things only got worse from there. The good side of it is, so there's always a good side. The good side is he's very talented, and he's had the fastest car probably all 4 of those races.
The bad side of it is he's lost 26 points in just 3 races. How do they turn it around? Right now, he's with Jeff Burton.
Justin, our guys are just talking about how fast you guys have been, not been able to execute lately. 4th in points. What do you guys got to do to clean that up at the end of the race?
Honestly, I wish I knew, Jeff. You know, we've had really, really fast Camaros the last number of weeks, and you know that rests solely on the whole shoulders of everybody on the 7 team, right? There's one team, and we all pushed each other in a forward direction, and honestly, it's been little mistakes too. That's the disappointing part. But you know, proud of the effort that we had. I felt like, you know, for us in qualifying, we didn't quite get the effort that we wanted to. I made some mistakes in qualifying. So I'm hoping I got those out of the way for the day. But, you know, proud of everybody on this Brand Professional Agriculture Camaro to have this speed in the cars that we've had the last number of weeks. I know the program is going in the right direction. And it's not just us in the 7 car. Everybody at Junior Motorsports has been working their guts out. You know, Dale got tired of answering the question of where our speed was at, and we're obviously doing the right things and getting ourselves there. We just got to execute, like you said, put ourselves in good position, and obviously be as fast as Xfinity 10G, and we'll be in good shape.
All right, I'm going to help you out here. Dale, the speed question is answered. Got that. So figured that part out.
Yeah, there you go. So Junior kind of bust on you there, but you own Justin Allgaier's car. What's your message to the 7 team been lately?
Well, lately it's been don't change what you're doing to these cars. They have been fast, as you mentioned, DJ. But with Justin, I mean, he's a veteran, and you tend to lean on him to figure it out, you know, and minimize the mistakes. And, you know, some have been his own doing, some have not. But I would tell him, don't change anything. You've been here a long time. You know what to do. Don't change what you're doing. You're putting yourself in position to win these races, leading a lot of laps. You just got to finish it off, and sometimes it's not your day. You get into these slumps where it's like a golf swing, and you know that, right? You get the yips or whatever, and you just can't stop. And so it's something that he'll have to work through personally with his team. I feel confident they can do it.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to get in. Every driver wants to have a time where each week you go, you're excited to get in the car because you know you probably have the best car, but then these things keep happening, and some of it is self-induced. You know, some of it things just do happen. Some racing gets in the way sometimes. But yeah, I was fortunate to be in a situation not quite like this. At this very racetrack, though, I had the fastest car in 1998, and we managed to run it out of gas and lose about 4 laps. So I understand how Justin feels sometimes, but you just got to get back in and go battle.
Race car drivers never forget, do they?
No, well, I'm over it, though, as you can tell.
Yeah, I can tell, yeah. Coming up next, who use Indy Road Course as an opportunity for their race team. DJ and Junior tell us what they think. That young man, he's excited for the green flag coming up for the Xfinity Series here in just a little bit. The iconic sights of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today, the left and right turns of the Speedway in a critical race for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Just 5 races left before the playoff field is locked in. Junior, who looks at today and the road course as an opportunity for their team?
Well, Cole Custer, he's won 2 road course races this year at Chicago and Portland, and they're coming off a massive penalty from an infraction inspection. How do they respond, right? They want to come back and show, hey, we're still a great team. That penalty will not affect our performance. And then the other driver, Chandler Smith, Chandler isn't necessarily one of my favorites today, but this is a driver that started the season very strong, and he is so looking to get back on track. It has been a tough month or 2 months for him, and he's just trying to be able to get the results that he knows he can get. They were such a great team at the start of the year, and I know they can be again.
Yeah, I'm going to start with the driver that's the most recent winner on the road course, Road America, Sam Mayer. What a great job he did right there in his home state, and he just did a fantastic job. He finished 7th here last year, and I just think this young man has a world of talent. Interesting to see how he handles this day. Starting back a little further, I know he would want to, but he's shown better patience lately. And my other driver is Riley Herbst. You mentioned it, Junior. A lot of talent, showing a lot more speed, and making a lot better decisions. And I think he is he impressed me at Road America also, coming back from a couple of spins there and getting a good finish out of that. See what he can do here today.
Can I show you some evidence that may want to make you guys change your picks? Look what's happening right now. Uh-oh, a little bit of rain in the area. That might change things up a little bit, Junior.
It's been a tough day for the Xfinity Series teams today with the rain. This is no surprise to me.
Yeah, I never raced in the rain, but they always say that you have to go offline to race. I think I might have been pretty good because on road courses I was offline a lot, so that might have been my forte.
And to clarify, they would race in the rain, long as there's no lightning in the area, and they practice in the rain this morning. Could be very interesting. When we come back, time for today's pre-race ceremonies as we get closer to green flag number 2 on a Saturday at IMS. For over 100 years, the tradition of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is unmatched. This weekend, the most famous racetrack in the world plays host to an IndyCar NASCAR triple header. Scott Dixon already in victory lane. Next up, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. DJ, did you ever dream in your wildest dreams back in your driving days that NASCAR and IndyCar would share a racetrack on the same day?
No, it was a big, huge time in 1994 when we came here with stock cars and NASCAR to race for the first time on the oval. But to think that this type of weekend could happen, just incredible. A lot of fun to see all that. And Scott Dixon, that is so cool for us to be here and see this man win for the 19th straight year.
You were in victory lane to witness all of that, which was awesome.
Yes.
Very cool, no doubt about it. And the road course racing, the Xfinity Series, has just been crazy this year. I don't think that calms down today at all. Time for today's pre-race ceremonies from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you please rise and remove your hats as service members from the Indiana National Guard present our nation's colors. Please welcome Casey Clark, pastor with Parkside Bible Church, for today's invocation.
Lord God, we thank you today for your kindness toward us and giving us a beautiful evening to enjoy the sport of racing. We ask that you would protect the drivers, their crews, and the fans today. We take a special moment to ask that you'd be with those affected by the fires in Hawaii. Protect them and comfort them during this time. And finally, Lord, we ask for our country that you would turn hearts to you. May you get the glory in everything done today. In Jesus' name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, Sergeant First Class Ron Walker with the Indiana Army National Guard.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let's hear it for
On the
Sergeant
other side,
First Class
Jeff and
Paul
Junior saw
Walker
some
and his
changes here at
performance
the
of our
Indianapolis road course. Plus Rick Allen and Steve Letarte as we get the engines cranked here at the world's greatest race course.
Been running fast, crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. I worked for this for all these years and I wouldn't break or back down. No. I fought through all my fears and all my frustrations. I see the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now. It's my time. I'm taking it now.
The most famous racetrack in the world. Whose time will it be? NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing from Indianapolis. It's the Pennzoil 150 at the Brickyard. Alongside our crew chief, Steve Letarte, Rick Allen with you. And Steve, when we come to a racetrack like this, you've got to look at the Xfinity Series regulars. And does anybody jump out at you as far as could have a good day here?
Well, if you don't say John Hunter Nemechek, you haven't watched the first 21 races of the season. 5 wins in 21 starts. And I know he hasn't won on a road course yet, but he's won everywhere else. And he's been fast at the road courses. He's just run into some issues. I think today could be the day John Hunter gets number 6 and breaks through at a road course. The other guy, 2 wins at the road courses. Cole Custer, right? While he won at Chicago on the streets, that was very great. It was a famous racetrack. Portland's the one I circled. That track, while very different than here as far as its shape, it's 90-degree corners, the flat kind of banking, not a lot of braking markers. I think Portland's race win should correlate well to here.
All right, I mentioned regulars. How about the Cup superstar, who, and I say superstar, A.J. Allmendinger, he's got to be on everybody's radar here.
Well, 11 wins. I mean, that's twice the next guy on career win lists at road courses. And more importantly, Road America a few weeks ago, he was the favorite. And it was kind of a black eye for the whole organization. They didn't have the speed in a race everyone had them predicted to be great at. So I think they're looking for a big bounce back.
Every driver mentioned earlier that practice and qualifying was on wet weather tires. As a crew chief, what has you nervous about that?
Well, I was worried because I thought the race would be in the dry, but when you look at the radar, I think there's a chance we might see wet again. It's just one more challenge these drivers and crew chiefs are going to have to work through at this racetrack. I mean, you see right here, just a few miles away, will we be fortunate enough to miss the rain?
Well, if it does rain, they've got wet weather tires, and they had practice. Let's get the engines fired. We go trackside for the command.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, on behalf of Advance Auto Parts, please welcome Jimmy Brown.
Drivers, start your engine.
Fired up and fired up. Go ahead and fire it up. We'll be saving all day.
So Marty mentioned earlier that there has been a change here, something a little bit different. The restart zone used to be on the front stretch here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but now that has changed. And for more on that, let's go to Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Burton in the new area.
Here we are down here at this new area. I want to remind you the rules are the same. The leader gets to this line, he can go. He doesn't have to go. He can wait till he goes all the way to that line where Dale Jr. is. All that's the same. What and why is new, Junior?
Well, they moved it around before the last corner on the racetrack because we had so many crashes down in turn 1 when the restart zone was on the front straightaway. We had a lot of problems in the Xfinity and Cup Series at COTA and at Indy. So now the whole field will have to come out of this final corner. That will allow the field to spread out a little bit before they get down to turn 1 in that braking zone, so they cannot pile all on top of each other 4 and 5 wide. They may try it today, but it'll be a little bit more difficult because of where this restart zone is. And the great thing about it is the leader can go, the rest of the field still snaking through turns 11 and 12. So by the time they get to turn 1, the leader's probably got at least 10 seconds on them. So that's a difficult thing if you're back in the pack on these restarts. The great thing about it, though, is we get to find out how this works. Because coming up next, after the break, is going to be the green flag here at Indy.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com.
I could easily get used to feeling good, feeling like
It doesn't matter if you're racing on the oval, the road course, the dirt track, or even in the parking lot, especially when you win here.
The Indiana boy is going to win it.
Indiana boys, let's go! One Indy. Wow!
Allmendinger wins at Indy again.
Yeah!
Indy, baby, let's go!
Well, he kissed the bricks a year ago at this race, and he'll start up front once again. A.J. Allmendinger on pole, and it's going to have to go through him if any of these drivers want to get to victory lane.
And right there in row 2, Josh Berry still looking for his first win of the season. Kind of surprising. On the next page, Justin Allgaier, row 7, 3 road course wins in his career. Right behind him, Sam Mayer coming off that first career win at Road America.
Miguel Paludo in row 11 there. So good at road course racing. A little bit difficult of a starting position for him if he wants to work his way up through. See Sage Karam also back there in row 14.
A bunch of cars going into the back, mostly for unapproved adjustments. It's been a busy day, right? They practiced kind of in the wet, converted to the dry, so not a lot of track time.
Saw Jeremy Clements, some other cars that are pulling over, indexing their wheels, getting ready for the start of this one before the green flag flies. Let's go to pit road and get a few more stories. We'll start with Dave.
Well, Rick, I agree with Steve. It is surprising that Josh Berry in the 8 car has not won this season. He's won 5 times in the series. He's headed to the Cup Series next year. So what about today can he create in Indianapolis memory? He's pretty good on the championship right now. He's in the playoffs by points, highest points getter without a win. So we shall see if he'll take some risks and maybe put his name on the trophy here at Indianapolis. Kim?
Well, Dave, Daniel Hemrick is still looking for his first top 10 at the Indy road course. So what did he do to prepare for this weekend in hopes to improve his performance? He told me he went back and watched last year's race with a little more emphasis than usual to really study what the successful drivers here do, specifically how they're attacking parts of the track like the S's to improve time, studying what they do on restarts. We'll see if that extra prep pays off, especially since they didn't learn much during practice earlier today on those wet weather tires. Marty Daniel starts from the 5th position.
Well, Kim, I talked to Cole Custer earlier today about the penalty they received midweek from NASCAR for the confiscated splitter from Michigan. It was 20 regular season points, 5 playoff points that went away from the 00 team. Cole told me my whole goal in these final 5 races of the regular season, get those playoff points back and some more as these cars come down pit road to check their pit road speed here right now. And I will go back to, Rick, earlier this morning, Cole Custer was the first driver who told me when I said, why are you guys running these rain tires here in this practice session? He said, it might rain later today. I want to learn what I can learn in case it does rain later today, and look at the radar. Cole Custer, a little weatherman. That worked out pretty well. Has that knowledge from practice earlier this morning. I'm sure that knowledge will be key today.
Clairvoyant for Cole Custer. All right, Steve, remind us this course, because it's not something that you typically see when you come to Indy.
Well, much like the oval, you do cross the famous yard of bricks, but going the opposite direction, 170 miles an hour down into this right-hand turn 1. They have to downshift, brake heavily all the way down to 50 miles an hour, and then it's kind of a right, left, right complex. You see how flat the racetrack really is. This is kind of the north end of the road course. Turn 3, not quite 90 degrees. Turn 4 is really the key corner here because it sets you up for a very long straightaway, and it looks like there's some corners in the straightaway of 5 and 6, and they're listed. But the drivers are going to try to shoot this dead straight. You see from curb to curb, and this goes to the fast back straightaway. A little slower, about 15 miles an hour slower than the front stretch, but a huge passing zone into turn 7, a very flat left-hander, easy to overdrive. And you see there's really no reference, no elevation change. That's great view right here. And then once again, the same as the other end of the racetrack, kind of some switchbacks. You have the right-hander 8, left-hander 9, into a very dominant right-hander 10 to what I actually think is the hardest braking zone. Not because it's the fastest, but because you're turning the whole time. So as you go through turn 11, you hear him on and off the throttle, playing with that grip. And now this braking zone isn't really straight. The car's not flat and loaded up. Into turn 12, you hear how slow this is. Pit entry would be straight ahead. If you want to go to pit road, you go straight off turn 13. To finish a lap, you make a left at 13, and then the long, sweeping turn 14. That's easy on new tires, but it can be a little grip limited as your tires age.
And as we just heard from Jeff and Junior, that's where the restart zone is as well. So they'll be working through there to get this race underway from the start and then any of the restarts. All right, Steve, you've taken us around a lap. Now, give us a little bit of the strategy and break down this race.
Well, so it's 62 laps, stage 1, 20, stage 2, 20, the final stage 22. We can go right around 30 laps on fuel, but let's remember, no longer at the end of the stages will we see that green and white checkered flag. We won't see the caution come out. So while points will be awarded to the top 10, to try to have the flow of these road course races, what the fans are looking for, they don't stop. So that changes the strategy. You see it, 62 laps, you can go almost 30. There is this question mark in the garage. Could somebody perhaps only pit one time, or will everybody have to pit twice?
And we heard Marty talk about it. We saw the radar. The possibility for rain is here. Will NASCAR throw a caution for rain, or will it have to be a wreck or maybe a spin that would send them onto pit road to where they could make the decision to switch?
So because we're starting in the dry, a rain shower would bring out a yellow flag condition because the track conditions would change. And then NASCAR will either make the decision or leave it up to the teams. We'll have to see when the weather gets here. But here it is. Right away, the restart zone comes up quick, Rick.
You mentioned leave it up to the teams. Well, right now, it's A.J. Allmendinger. Green flag is out. We're racing at Indianapolis.
It's our first opportunity to see how that restart zone is going to affect everything down here in turn 1 and 2. Already a big difference in the cars being spread out for the braking zone.
Yeah, but Ty Gibbs got a big run right here on A.J. Allmendinger, trying to roll to his outside, trying to outbrake him.
The crossover move. Here comes the 19 of Gibbs. Can't complete the pass. A.J. Allmendinger holding him off early. Side by side for that third spot. Austin Hill in the 21. Coming into the heavy braking zone of turn 7 now.
Great opportunity early in this race to get aggressive, pick up a few spots. Negative to that is making contact, getting yourself in trouble early. It's 98, Riley Herbst.
On board with A.J. Allmendinger, the Goodyear on board, and that's just how close that 19 of Ty Gibbs is.
Ty is putting a ton of pressure on A.J.
That's all you can do for an expert like AJ. You have to be able to pass AJ. You've got to keep the pressure on. Otherwise, he's going to make no mistakes, put great laps together, just inch away.
Steve, what happened at Road America with them? Because A.J. Allmendinger was fastest. He won the pole, but then he said there was braking issues.
It's right here under the braking. Road America had been repaved. And basically, the brakes that A.J. like are very aggressive. When you stand on them, they really slow the car down. And the problem with the pace on the fresh pavement was they actually just overheated. They faded. They stopped working. That was a point that they worked on. As you see, the 19 dives to the inside of A.J. right here.
For the lead, but he's going to be on the outside of this turn.
It's too narrow. You can't not go through there side by side. Someone's got to give. Marty.
Jeff, I talked to AJ about that Road America performance that Rick and Steve were talking about a second ago. He called it, quote, embarrassing. He said, I think we have the electrical issue fixed with cooling the brakes. Hopefully it's not a problem today. But then Kim, he said something you don't hear AJ Allmendinger say very often. He said, I need a little confidence at the road courses. A good run today will certainly help me, not only today, obviously, but also tomorrow for the Cup race as well.
Well, in talking with the 19 team of Ty Gibbs, crew chief Jason Ratcliffe said our sole goal today is to make it to tough on AJ. That is strictly the goal, in hopes that he makes a mistake, slips up. They did their due diligence, studied past races, shift points, SMT, exactly what makes AJ strong on this course, and they're hoping they can transfer that knowledge to Ty.
Well, so far, mission accomplished, because Ty Gibbs has hounded AJ really from the drop of the green flag.
Huge run right here. Ty Gibbs is going to try to make this work. He's going to try to outbreak him. He's so close he can't, but not the try.
There he goes to the inside in turn one. Can Gibbs take the lead away? He does.
Now AJ gets to fall in behind the 19 and see where his strengths are. He realizes that the 19 has more pace. He's not going to allow the 19 to pressure him into a mistake. He lets him go, and now he can tell his crew, hey, I need to be better here. I need to be better at this corner, X, Y, and Z. Help me out. Work on the car, make it better. We can take the fight back to the 19 car later in the race.
And Steve, I'm noticing the lights blinking on the back of the 19. He doesn't have to have those on yet, but he does already. Those aren't brake lights either.
They're not brake lights, they're running lights. They're required if we move into the wet. They're not required right now.
I think he's turned them on because he wants to distract AJ. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, these young drivers think of everything. Look, turn them back off. Must have had him on by accident, I reckon. I thought he had him on purpose, trying to distract the driver behind him. That'd have been a good thing to do.
Well, sometimes, you know, you run a lap before you turn your brake fans on to get everything up to temperature. You wonder, remember, you know, he's part-time in this car. They told him to turn the fans on, Junior. He went up and just started flipping switches.
Well, if AJ was complaining about it, I'd have left him on.
Well, Junior, you've been known to ride down interstate with your left signal.
I got you jacked up. Let's have a good day. 62 laps here.
I was going to say, Scott Dixon got in that lap one wreck in the IndyCar race earlier today. He had those rain lights on all day long. It worked for him. Maybe Ty Gibbs should have left them on.
Little contact back in the field a few laps ago. See this battle raging on right here. Jeb Burton gets in the corner and just gets, actually Sam Mayer just gets into the back of him, moves him up the racetrack. Jeb started in the top 15, started 14th. That cost him a lot of spots.
Jeb won't forget it. He doesn't like getting pushed around like that. He had a pretty good qualifying run. Lost a bunch of spots there. A little bit of contact there on that turn one pass attempt by Austin Hill, and you see the damage to the right front, or the left front rather. He's been trying to get around Josh Berry, better than Josh in all the braking zones, but he's offline for the next corner.
How worried are you about that tire rub on that left front fender as it's rubbing the left front wheel?
Yeah, I'm more worried about the patience the 21 is showing, is that he's much quicker than Josh, and it's costing him a spot right here to Cole Custer, and he's going to, you know, he's going to lose the patience. He's going to get more agitated because he feels like he can get around that 8 car, he'll drive away.
You said patience, and he didn't exhibit it, and that cost him a spot. There are places on this racetrack that you can try to pass, and if it doesn't work and somebody's behind you, they're going to pass you. And you got to recognize when to make the pass and when not to make the pass. Austin Hill, an aggressive driver, that worked against him that time.
Allmendinger was out front for 2 laps. Now it's Ty Gibbs leading at Indy. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from all of your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store to download for free, and you can start using today. Starting to see a little bit of moisture as we're looking out from Kaz Grala's Toyota onboard on that windshield. Steve, what are the rules?
Well, so when you talk about rain, first of all, you asked would the caution be thrown. I said yes, but technically NASCAR doesn't throw it for rain. They throw it for a car spinning out, which normally happens right away when the rain comes. But the wet conditions, right? So those lights we saw on Ty Gibbs, they'll have to be on as we see 3 wide right here with Paluto at the bottom. Windshield wipers on all the cars. They can run that. They have a defogger. The big story is the rain tires. You can come down and put those treaded tires on. You see mud flap looking things behind. Those are really just rain flaps to try to keep the spray down. And if we have to, we can go to single file restarts. The real question is, rain tires on dry racetracks are much slower. They have less grip. but dry tires on wet racetracks are near impossible. And that is going to be the challenge of these drivers. What is too wet to continue on dry tires?
Boy, and to that point, Steve, as a caution comes out right here, you want to be the last person to get to him if you can help it. So this caution coming out here, you wonder if NASCAR, lightning is the call here for NASCAR. That's why the caution is coming out. Parker Kligerman's team, Steve, they did not have the rain tires glued up inside their pit stall. Patrick Donahue was very upset by that because clearly going to have to go to the rain tires. So gluing up the tires this late, what would the repercussions be for that for the 48 team?
Well, right now you're not going to be able to use the standard glue. They make these little two-sided foamy stickers, which are not as good. That's what they're going to have to use. But this is the type of execution a team trying to make the playoffs just cannot have. You know, the crew chief can't think of everything. There's a great look. You see it's kind of like a dark foam looking sticker they've used right there, putting the grease in the lug nuts. They're expecting these right here are glued on, so I don't know which crew this is, but this is those look like they've been glued maybe. You know, the big problem is these are the mistakes you just can't make, right? If you come down here and you go to put these tires on, these are going to be live pit stops. You don't get as much time as you want to put rain tires on. It's a normal pit stop. So if they have a slow pit stop because of this lug nut issue, it could be very, very much a challenge to overcome.
But with the the lightning situation that has just been told to us from NASCAR, this is like a mandatory stop situation also. So these teams are rolling around the track, but they'll be on their way to pit road here shortly.
Yeah, this would be a red flag. Basically, lightning is a guaranteed duration of time under red for safety of the you know, spotters, officials, fans.
Clock will go on, and again, once the field's all caught up to the pace car, they'll roll back onto pit road. And you mentioned red flag. Nothing can be done to these cars under a red flag condition. If the drivers do climb out, if they do have to put on any kind of you know, rain cover or anything, that's all that the crew can do. They can't make any adjustments to these cars under a red flag condition.
Yeah, they'll cover them up and we'll sit and wait. You know, if the red flag is long enough, like at Michigan a week ago, we had one overnight, that definitely changed those rules a little bit. But a standard red flag, which we expect this to be, you just cover the car up. Drivers will probably get out since it'll be about 30 minutes, I think, for the lightning strike.
And we saw some aggressive racing super early in this race, and you wonder, drivers getting out might want to go have a conversation with somebody, try to clean something up. A lot of door banging, people getting in the back of each other. You know it's aggressive, but there's a limit to where you want to be that early in the race.
And again, they can race in the rain. That is not an issue. They have wet weather tires. They practiced. They qualified earlier today on those wet weather tires. They just can't race if there's been a lightning strike within a certain distance.
Yeah, 9 times the Xfinity Series has raced on rain tires. 27 of the drivers that are in the field today have raced at least one of those events. And so, you know, we think of NASCAR as a series that doesn't have a ton of experience in the rain, but this Xfinity Series has raced in the rain many times, going back a few years. So it's kind of been the test series for these type of things, a rain tire and racing in the rain and stock cars competing in the rain. So these teams have more experience than even the Cup Series does.
So working around turns 12, 13, and they'll be making their way onto pit road. We were listening in on, the 98 of Riley Herbst. We were listening in on his radio. Might have a brake issue.
I almost knocked out the first 5 people in front of me into turn 7 right there. I had 100 good pressure, and then on my downshifts, I went to the floor. I mean, it's like incredible. Just like Red America? Exact same thing. I don't know what we are assembling differently, but my pedal is good on initial hit. Then as I downshift, it goes to the floor.
So looking at the race car, there's grass right there, Steve, on those covers. Right, it's everywhere on the brake duct holes, but not on the grill screen as much. And so you would think that temperature has rose on those brakes. They're not cooling well enough. Somebody may have went off the racetrack in front of him to put that debris on the brake ducts, and they'll try to clear that off.
Yeah, and then what he's describing is interesting, right? Because the initial pedal is good, and then it starts to fade. So I don't know, and he says it's under downshift. So I don't know if it's a mechanical issue that, you know, as you downshift, it's a vibration that's causing some inefficiencies in the brakes. Doesn't sound very comfortable, though. Not sure I would like that.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is not only is it's scary, I mean, because as a driver, when you hit that brake pedal, that's the sign. I've got it. I'm going to slow down. And when you downshift, you're expecting that brake pedal And when it goes to the floor after you have initial brake, that is very unique. And that will get you in trouble, get you wrecked, get you into the back of somebody else.
And again, a reminder, the reason for these cars on pit road now is because of a lightning strike. That's obviously for the safety of fans, crews, everyone involved here. They will have the drivers get out of the cars, and a lot of the crew members are going to probably cover them up just because it has started to rain here a little bit harder now.
Yeah, there's a band of showers going east to west coming through the area. And hopefully that's going to be all we have to deal with. And once that's out of the way, we should be good to go. Looking at the radar, it's going to be a temporary pause in the action.
There's that radar you're talking about, Junior.
Yeah, so the lightning strike, I mean, we got some building there just north of us, and hopefully that's not going to get worse. But that little band right there is going to create a delay. But this series has dealt with some curveballs today. Practice and qualifying and wet racetrack and a drying racetrack and running on rain tires and starting the race on slicks. The weather and Mother Nature doesn't do you any favors.
And as a race fan, I'm frustrated by the lightning because we were getting ready to see some really tough positions for these drivers and crew chiefs to decide if they needed to come, if not. You mentioned the rain, but it kind of just, I guess it looks like it's picking up a little bit now. So look, if we can get the lightning out of here and we get a wet racetrack, they will restart in the wet.
Yeah, we've seen very entertaining racing on a wet surface. There's Jeb Burton out of his car.
Probably, you mentioned it, Jeff. He might be going to look. I think it was Sam Mayer that maybe assisted him through 11 and 12 there. There's Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Jeb was walking over to his teammate, someone to talk to blow some smoke, get some steam out of you. A lot of racing left to go. You got to stay focused here.
Red flag is out. 7 laps complete from Indy. Lightning in the area, and that brings the opportunity for drivers to discuss a little bit. And, well, Sam Mayer was, I believe, discussing with Jeb Burton there. And it didn't look like Jeb Burton took the communication very well, guys.
Yeah, well, they get in the corner here. Everybody's kind of bottled up, and Sam Mayer just drives in the corner and just runs into the back of Jeb Burton. Jeb actually does a pretty nice job of saving the car. The 50, Preston Pardis, he really got it bad. Look how many positions he loses. And it makes you angry. You know, you work hard. Jeb and that team, they've done a really nice job. Sam, won recently. He's driving with some confidence. He's trying to explain to Jeb, hey, man, this happened, and Jeb's not buying it. And that's not uncommon for this series or any series for that matter. Jeb and that team had the 8th best average finish in this series this year, and they've completed the most laps of all drivers. And for that team, that's a great accomplishment, and that's got them in the playoffs. And they're building that team. They're building that team up. Jeb's done a nice job. Sam Mayer, we just mentioned it. He won a few weeks ago. He's learning how to race in this series, and kind of experience versus youth right there.
Yeah, I have to give Jeb a lot of credit for what they've been able to do with that team. And I remember when Josh Berry drove that car and what the team was trying to do, what they were capable of, and how much Jeb, he's almost a veteran now of the series. So how much he's really been able to up their expectations. It's not really about building better cars. It's really trying to change the culture in it and what they expect to do when they go to the racetrack. And that's run up front.
You see his name, Jeb Burton, right there, currently in 7th as far as the wins. Everybody in yellow that has a win already this season locked into the playoffs. And again, with 5 races to go until the playoffs begin for the Xfinity Series, there's still a lot of opportunity. But does anybody stand out as far as someone who you've got to keep your eye on and maybe a championship favorite?
Well, so I think, when you look at favorites, you have to go right to the top, right? Nemechek and Hill with 5 and 4 wins. They've really stood out really all year long. But when you go to the drivers that aren't in yellow yet, some big names yet to have won. Barry, Hemrick's a champion. Creed's right there at the cut line. But how about Brandon Jones back there in 14th? I think it's been a little bit of a slow start to the year at JRM for Brandon Jones, but he had really decent speed at Michigan. And when you talk about this series, runs a little bit longer, right? We still have Darlington and Kansas. So I think if Brandon Jones can stay within reach through this road course stretch, he can make a run on those final 2 races.
And you know, you would say that about Brandon Jones, but you wouldn't give Chase Elliott the same benefit of the doubt in the same scenario on the Cup side. So I'm surprised to hear that, Steve. But I don't, you know, Brandon Jones being so far back and his, you know, he's not had the speed at the road courses. So I think, you know, hinging his bets on just having good enough runs at Darlington and Kansas and even Daytona aren't enough. I think that team has to think win. I think they got a pit strategy to win and show up with cars that can win. So that's the way. I mean, I feel like they're out of it in terms of being able to point their way in at 67 points back.
Oh, I agree. I think it's going to take a win for the 9, but I believe he can do it. Darlington and Kansas. Kansas for sure. It's a track he runs very well at.
So again, it's been a combo weekend already here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And because earlier the NTT IndyCar Series ran, and let's listen to the last call and watch the last lap that was taking place. Lee Diffie on the call of the IndyCar race.
White flag.
This is the key overtaking point.
White flag, let's keep the pressure on him. Make him earn this one.
Make him earn this one, they say to Graham Rahal. However, and to Scott Dixon, can he sustain the pressure, or has Rahal got something special over there in turn 7? That midfield straight into the left-hander and the key overtaking point.
Big, long radius corner here, turn 4. It really challenges all 4 Firestones, but Dixon still with the gap through the chicane. They come down to turn 7. Rahal still not close enough for a lunge.
It was a year ago at Nashville where Scott Dixon separated himself from Mario Andretti to move into 2nd overall all-time on the wins list. Now look at this. Graham Rahal says, I'm not sure if I'm going to let you win in a 19th season. I want this win, but it's not going to come easy. Dixon into turn 12. Rahal is throwing everything at it, but the overtaking opportunities have run out. What a comeback from Scott Dixon after spinning on the opening lap. And in 19 consecutive seasons, Scott Dixon is going to be a winner again. Spin to win. Dixon has done it at Indy.
Spin to win. He spun early in the race, got hit from behind, spun into the grass. They came on a different strategy, Steve, and you noticed it right away when we were watching that race that he could be in a position where he could overtake the lead just on the different pit strategy.
Well, Scott Dixon, you know, an extreme veteran of that sport. He's one of the real masters at keeping pace while saving fuel, giving his team an option. And that's really what they did. Him and strategist Mike Hell kind of come up with an idea on the radio, and it worked. And I hated it for Graham Rahal. You know, Graham, this racetrack has been good and bad. Just in May, he missed a 500. He came back and sat on the pole for this road course race, and it was going to be an amazing story. But so much is, you know, real sports, right? Just because you're a good story doesn't mean you have a chance. And you got to applaud Chip Ganassi's entire organization and Scott Dixon kind of finding a way, even with a rough start, to get to victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, he's eternal in his performance and abilities. You know, he's got the experience, but also still at that level to be able to have the reflexes, stamina, and speed and the pace to go out there, right, to win these races. It's incredible. We get those kind of drivers, I think, you know, once in a generation. And so, you know, he's a legend. We're getting ready, you know, we're watching him sort of in the twilight of his career, yet still able to go out there and be the best.
Yeah, 6-time champion, 19 straight seasons with a win, 54th win. Dixon is clearly great at what he does, but Graham Rahal has to be heartbroken. He had by far the best race car, qualified on the pole, led the majority of the race, just had the best car, had the most speed, and you got to go back and remember he missed the Indianapolis 500, was not fast enough to qualify into the show. Did sub and did run in that race, and then come back and sit on the pole and have a chance to win that race. That has to make them feel good. But having a car that fast and not winning with it also has to be heartbreaking at the same time.
Again, that was earlier. We saw the sun out then. Well, the sun has come out again. We're under a lightning delay here. We'll talk to drivers when we come back. A lightning strike a little over 10 minutes ago, and now the skies have cleared a bit. You see a rainbow over the racetrack, and we expect to be back on track in about 20 minutes. But in the meantime, let's see if we can hear from A.J. Allmendinger.
You know, Rick, I just see the rainbow there, and I'm hanging out with A.J., and I think it's a special moment to share with you right now. So, do you think it's special?
It's very special. Any time with you, Dave, is special.
Appreciate that. Hey, he lost the lead, but looks like you have a very fast race car. How is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a challenge today, right, with the weather, how raining this morning, and then you're kind of running on wet tires in the dry, and definitely struggling there to start the race. Ty was really fast. I think Cole was really quick as well. So we're going to try to get this Leaf Home Water Solution Chevy a little bit better. Obviously, the track is slightly wet again, so we're going to have to start all over and kind of see how this race plays out.
Looking at the pass for the lead here, are your braking issues from Road America fixed? Are you better today?
Yeah, it's better. It's just at that point, Ty was a lot quicker and too early in the race to even try to fight it. So I just kind of, I wouldn't say I let him go because he was going to go by me anyway. I just try to make it as easy as possible.
And for you then, I mean, how much do you want to press then early on in this race? Because it's a long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, not pressing. We just, more than anything, at that point, trying to get to a pit stop because definitely didn't have the speed in the race car to go contend with them. And try to make some adjustments there and get better and see if we could run with him. Or, like I said, I thought Cole was fast. It looked like he started 7th or 8th and was up to 3rd. So don't have the speed to win right now, but plenty of time and a lot of different track conditions.
Let's go back to rainbows for a minute. Speaking of that, you're about to be a father. Excited?
Yes. It's, first of all, hi to my beautiful, very pregnant wife at home. She was, I think, due on this past Monday. So he's just taking his sweet time, you know. I mean, why would he want to come out? He hears his dad yelling all the time, like he's screaming about golf or racing. So I think he's comfortable just sitting in there right now, but definitely waiting. So she's a trooper, though. She went and worked out yesterday. She's a beast mode as always. So we'll be ready whenever he's ready to come out.
Allmendinger's going to have a couple winners, I think, in the next few days here. We'll see. Speaking of which, you've got 2 opportunities today and tomorrow. What will this race do, rain or shine, for your possibilities tomorrow in terms of what you gain knowledge-wise? I know the cars are very different.
Yeah, I mean, they're just so different. I think more than anything, it's just laps on a racetrack always help. And our Cup car today was a struggle. We start 26, so we got a lot of work to do. It'd be nice to go out there and win this race and just have confidence going into tomorrow. We've got a lot of work to do. They're going to make it very tough on me to do that. So, but yeah, we're just trying to run some laps and keep getting better with each lap.
Like AJ said, long way to go here, Rick. For now, we wait and we watch rainbows and sunshine, and I think the rain has stopped.
Rain has stopped. Blue skies out in front of us. We see a rainbow tomorrow on NBC. The Cup Series will take to the road course here. That begins with countdown to green at 2 o'clock and racing at 2:30. And, of course, NASCAR America post-race show after the checkered flags, which will be streaming on Peacock as well. All right, so A.J. Allmendinger, where does he stand? Well, he's 24 points below. This is the Cup Series playoff standings. But with a road course here and Watkins Glen next week, that's got to be positive for him. But he's also around some guys that are great on road courses as well.
Well, it was positive until Daniel Suarez sat on the pole. I mean, that's really the point, right, is those other guys are very fast. But A.J. does know how to win at the road courses without a doubt, and he's done it here at Indy, Jeff.
Yeah, A.J. Allmendinger, this is when before this team was full-time. This was, you know, he came in here and took it to all the full-time teams. Now they race every week. Xfinity wins here. Yeah, Xfinity wins, Cup wins. He's been good, but tomorrow's a challenge. You talked about who sat on the pole. It wasn't A.J. Allmendinger. He's starting 26. So he has a ton of work to do. And the guys that he is racing for those points, most of them qualified well. So
he is spotting them a lot of spots right off the start.
Well, the other thing that he has to deal with is not only really good road course racers that are part of the Cup Series, but also the international flavor that is a part of this race tomorrow. 7 different countries represented. And you look at Shane van Gisbergen, who won at Chicago earlier this year, Mike Rockefeller out of Germany, Brody Kostecki of Australia, who races SVG all the time, Daniel Suarez from Mexico, Kamui Kobayashi of Japan, Jenson Button of England, and then, of course, the 33 drivers that we had just talked about that he races week in and week out, all on the track to try to take away the opportunity for him to get into the playoffs. He's got a lot of competition out there he's got to fight through.
Well, I think everybody wondered what it would be for SVG to return at a non-street course, but qualified inside the top 10. I was impressed. And, Jeff, how about Brody Kostecki? He had trouble mechanically, didn't get a lot of laps, put up a great lap in qualifying. Now, unfortunately, had some damage, made some wall contact, so they'll have to repair that car. But I think there's a lot of blue sky, a lot of opportunity for that young man.
I agree, and I actually think starting in the back can some ways be a little bit of positive for a guy like that, because there's not a spotlight on him. He knows he's got to go forward. What does he have to lose, right? And so when you start in the front, that's where you want to be, Junior, but it shines the spotlight on you, puts pressure on you. Brody can take his time. He's not worried about stage points. He's not worried about anything other than being where he needs to be at the end of that race.
Well, let's go back to Chicago, where all of this international rage started with Shane going out there and qualifying well and then learning in the race and improving and putting down some amazing laps near the end of this event. At times a clear second faster than the rest of the field, just driving away to his win in front of an incredible crowd. He talked about how insane the celebration was, unlike anything he'd ever been a part of before. You have to imagine he just was in such disbelief as he was going through that process. But now he's back on basically our field, right? He's on a level playing field with the teams. Chicago has such an advantage because NASCAR had never been at a street course. Not just the drivers, this whole sport had never been there. And so he was well-versed in street courses and weather and all the things that were thrown at him. But here we are at Indy. He did make the final round in qualifying. I think he can win this race tomorrow, but it will be a tougher challenge. He's going to be facing drivers with a lot more confidence, and they're not going to want to see him go back-to-back. They're glad he's back. They're glad he's here at Indy so they can show that they can beat him on an even playing field.
Again, a lightning delay has put the drivers out of the cars, and that gives us the opportunity to talk to some of the drivers, like Cole Custer, who's standing by with Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with weatherman / race car driver Cole Custer. And you're the one who told me this morning, hey, I think it's going to rain later this afternoon. Did you have a premonition this was coming, or is that just a good guess?
I just keep up with the forecast, you know. I mean, maybe there's a future there. But no, I think we got a good car, though. I was pretty happy with it there firing off. So hopefully they keep this Haas Automation Ford Mustang up front. It's going to be a different animal now, you know. I mean, with the rain and everything, I don't think it'll last very long. I think we'll only run probably 20 laps in the wet, but it's going to be interesting to see how we have to adapt through the track as it changes here. But I feel like JT and the guys have done an awesome job with it. Hopefully just keep it up front and have a good shot here at the end.
So when you parked the car here on pit road, did your mind immediately go to the practice this morning and start recalling how that was in the wet tires?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you're just kind of running through your mind here of like, all right, I got to change my lift point here. I got to run a rain line here. I got to do this, that. So, but also at the same time, it's going to be fluid. You know, track's going to change every single lap as we go here and dries out. So you got to really stay on top of it. But I feel like I was really happy with my car. I think we have a little bit that we can do better, but I feel like overall we'll have a shot at here.
The penalty from Michigan, you mentioned to me, my whole goal in these final 5 races is to get those playoff points back that were taken from you. But I really want to talk about the speed the last couple of races. I know it's been frustrating endings to races for you guys. How do you think the last few weeks have gone for the 00 team?
I mean, overall, it's been a frustrating month, you know. I mean, I feel like we've had top 5 speed at every single track that we've gone to, but we've gotten wrecked in 3 of them and then had a vibration last week and had to pit. So we got the speed. We just have to have a little bit of luck turnaround here, but hopefully today's the day.
Moving from the Cup Series down to the Xfinity Series, were you surprised at how tough the competition is in the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is a really competitive year. I mean, the top 12 guys are, you know, if you're off that little bit, you're going to run 12. So you really got to be on top of things. And it doesn't come easy. You got to be out there 100% and working on your stuff as much as you can. And I think we've gotten it to where we can really compete with anybody out there.
So it's interesting because your teammate Riley Herbst is just trying to get into the playoffs. So is there anything you can do over these 5 final weeks to kind of help him out a little bit points-wise?
I mean, overall, just trying to help him during the week. And, you know, we have really good communication, me and Riley. So we talk about, you know, what we got with our cars throughout the weekend and what we expect going into this, that we're going to have here with the rain. So we bounce ideas off each other really good. And I think they've had a lot of speed, too. They just have had a lot of bad luck through the whole summer stretch, really. So they deserve to be in the playoffs here, and they're going to make it in.
So what do you want to clean up? 5 final races in the regular season before you hit the playoffs in a couple weeks at Bristol?
I think just get some momentum back, you know. I mean, we went on a streak there of, I think, 11 straight top 10s and a couple wins. And these last month has been a little rough. I don't think anything really from much of our doing, but it hasn't really played out right. So hopefully get things to turn around.
Rick, any requests from the weatherman? Is it going to rain later today? Are we done with the rain?
I would say so. I haven't looked at the radar recently, but I think so.
Cole called it at 9 a.m. It was going to rain. It rained. So now he says we're done. So I'm holding it to him. This is not you promising this, Rick. It is Cole Custer promising no more rain today.
I don't want to be a part of it because for some reason my name gets associated with negativity when things like these happen.
Got to look back to Cole Custer's successes this year on the road courses, and here's Portland late in the race. A lot of drivers getting over their skis and taking themselves out, and opens it wide open for Cole, and he was in position at this particular race in Portland to get the win, but then we went to Chicago and he just dominated there. So, you know, I know this was kind of a gift in a way to Cole, but it really got them the confidence they needed as he comes back to the Xfinity Series to try to, you know, get back to winning races and find his way back to the Cup Series. I mean, that's what this is all about. He's coming back down here to regain that confidence and show what he can do. And, you know, he's looking at that Cup Series, trying to get back to that at some point.
So while they are drying the track, it doesn't have to be dry because NASCAR has told all of the teams to put their wet weather tires on. And we see the crews taking the covers off. They'll put the wet weather tires on. It looks like we'll get back to racing here shortly. Next Saturday on USA, the NASCAR Xfinity Series will continue their road work when they head to Watkins Glen International. That coverage on USA begins at 3 p.m. Eastern, and we will be calling that radio style once again. So, Jeff, Junior, you guys will be out on track. We'll have Mike Bagley joining us as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's where we started doing radio style at Watkins Glen, and kind of feels natural to be doing it there. When we go on the road. So I look forward to a beautiful racetrack. I get to stand up there in the carousel, watching the cars try to fight through the chicane on the back straightaway, or the bus stop, whatever you want to call that. It's always a lot of fun, a lot of action back there.
I'm jealous.
I know.
Junior gets to stand on a, like,
covered
yes, a
tower.
covered
Yeah, really
permanent
nice.
structure. I'm in the hydraulic lift that moves feet at a time, left to right.
Which I think you have your license now to drive that.
It's
lift.
actually flying.
So this is an interesting decision.
Yeah, right.
So basically, you asked earlier what would happen if the rains came. They would have basically let the teams know they were allowed to put on wets. You could kind of put them on at any time. But now, because of the red flag due to lightning, remember, that's what stopped the race, not the rain. Now, because of the red flag due to lightning, they don't want the teams to roll around on slicks and do a live pit stop. So everyone is now going to be required to re-enter the race on rain tires. You see the treaded tires here. And that was a good break for Parker Kligerman's group, who Marty reported that they didn't have their rain tires prepped and glued up and ready to go. So a nice break for the 48.
What's unique about today is that they never roll on racetrack with the track dry in practice. So they practiced earlier today, and it rained, and they were on wets the entire time. One car made half a lap on slicks, but the entire practice was mostly, with the exception of that, done on rain tires. So these drivers and teams were on the racetrack today with these exact tires. They know and understand what their cars can do and what they can't do. So I would expect to see an aggressive restart right off the bat.
So if we had pit stops, I would have preferred that they go around and have to come in and do live pit stops because somebody could have a loose wheel, you know, all these different things. The fact that all of these cars have just run 7 laps, you know, nobody's changed tires yet. Nobody's put fuel in yet. I think this is kind of a non-issue. Just put everybody on rain tires and restart the race. The real trick is going to be when to get off rain tires. And every IMSA race I cover, I ask those strategists, how do you know to get off from the rain tires? And every strategist basically says as soon as the driver thinks they can complete a lap with dry tires, it's time to switch, because dry tires have more speed in the high-speed areas. But you can't make that decision because you can't see the whole track and the small nuances of each corner. So it's really up to the driver to kind of pick and choose when it's time to get off from these groove tires.
New things happening here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Jeff and Junior talked about the restart zone. So when we go back to racing, when we get the cars back out there, there's been 7 laps complete, we're going to have a restart. So did you guys see anything from the initial start of this race that says this was a good move to move this zone?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that we saw what we hoped or what this was designed to do. Obviously, this is the first start of the race. Not a ton of intensity. What will be intense is those final restarts in the last stage. But look at how spread out the cars are, Jeff. I think it's doing exactly what NASCAR wanted to do. Obviously, we love seeing drama down in turn 1, but it was probably a good thing to move the restart zone.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to the Cup race last year, you know, there was nothing the driver could do to prevent from getting wrecked. I mean, if the drivers could have controlled it, then you shouldn't change the restart zone. Like Watkins Glen, the restart zone is going to stay the same at Watkins Glen because the drivers are in more control there. But here, it's so wide, and it's just no way to keep everybody from spreading out. So it's not just as simple as saying, hey, the drivers need to behave, because if you go down there and you say, okay, I'm going to stay in line and not do anything silly, next thing you know, you're 5 wide and you're getting wrecked from behind. So it's something that NASCAR really needed to help the drivers with, and this seems to have helped. Now, today NASCAR's got to make a decision, because in rain, they can make a determination to single file restart them to make it even less hectic. So what will NASCAR do? We don't know yet. We don't know what the determination will be. It won't surprise me to see them double file restarts, because they did get track time earlier today, and they should have an understanding of what their cars can do.
And you see that damage on the left front of Austin Hill's car. I mean, NASCAR probably won't appreciate them fooling with that any, but if I was taking that left front tire off, I'd be pretty aggressive. Trying to get that thing off there, trying to move that fender as much as I could.
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah, he's going to pull that toward the front.
Won't come out.
Not coming off.
It's not Tim Laddiga's first race, my man. Right? Timmy, good move, Timmy.
Now this tire will go on a whole lot easier.
We're not doing them anything.
Now that I move, we're good to go.
The camera right there. He's got to be like, oh, I can't believe you guys have got a camera on me as I'm taking this tire
it wouldn't
off.
come off. It's stuck.
So again, under a red flag condition because of lightning, they're putting on wet weather tires. Showers have passed through the area. Drivers have been called to their cars. We're about ready to get back to racing here at Indy. And drivers heading back to the cars, getting strapped in, as well as the wet weather tires bolted on. And there's a colleague racing driver that has jumped into the car. Of course, AJ Allmendinger, and the guy who heads it up over there is Chris Rice. He's with Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with him. The Dinger right now in second place. So, Chris, I want to get your perspective on this as a guy who leads colleague racing. Fair move by NASCAR here to make a non-competitive pit stop to put the rain tires on.
Well, I think we can look at it a bunch of different ways. And I asked you earlier, what do you want me to say? But I like competitive pit stops, you know. But probably for what we're working with, the pit road's really wet, and I think that's what they worry about more is the crew members, right? So I have to take that in consideration. So I'm going to go on 50-50. I would have loved to have a competitive pit stop because we need to make some adjustments on the 10 car and try to get it a little bit better. But this is going to be fun because it adds a pit stop into the race because, like you said earlier, who gets on the dries or the slicks quick enough? So I would put the bet, if I had to bet, on AJ to get on the dries pretty quick.
I was going to ask you that because that's the entire game. When you have a wet race, whoever's brave enough, as we were talking about a moment ago, to throw on the slick tires early is usually who wins the race. So how brave will you make AJ today, or how brave will he be?
Well, if it gets drier pretty quick, we might come in before it starts and go ahead and put the dry.
Oh, come on now.
Who knows? I mean, we're here to win trophies, right? And I know that AJ will be aggressive. I know he's not in a real good mood right now. If you're listening back at home, you can go listen to how he's in a good mood. So we're going to be aggressive, and we're going to get on pit road pretty quick. And if that means it gets dry super fast right here, we'll start taking that chance.
He still has his day job, which is the Cup Series car, and needs points and wins over there. So how valuable are these laps today, especially with the restart zone moved, all of that for tomorrow's race?
Well, it's huge because you watch the restart there. The 19 car is definitely better than us right now, but he was able to get out and lead. He can watch how bad the race car is right now and try to work through it mentally. I think more than anything with AJ, mentally this helps him, right? He's got Tara back at home, and we're wishing Tara the best right now as she's getting ready to have a little AJ Allmendinger, I guess. And so I think every lap he can have at this place will help him tomorrow. And we got a big hill to climb, but you know what? College racing's all about climbing hills.
Yeah, so he's on baby watch. So, and he told me, I'm not going home no matter what. Are you behind that decision?
Well, I had to FaceTime Tara. Like, I didn't believe him. He called me, and I would FaceTime Tara, and he says she's not here, and she was literally sitting right beside him, and she said, yes, I don't want him to come home. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I don't want him to come to the racetrack, so I guess we're a lot alike. But no, he's not going home. But, you know, best wishes to her if she does have it while he's here. But I bet she has it on a Wednesday or something, and he has to be there, which is going to be the coolest moment in history for AJ Allmendinger.
Yeah, that would be the best case for everybody if AJ's able to be there for the birth of his first child. But he swears to me, Rick, he said, I don't care no matter what. I'm going to stay here. This is my job. I'm going to focus on that, and I'll do the best I can to be there via FaceTime if I have to, if that's what it calls for the birth of their first child.
Yeah, he brought up a good point, and Chris Rice started the discussion as to when do you come to pit road? How dry does the track have to be?
Well, so the rain tires, you could tell that the rain tires are on. The lettering, the Goodyear is white versus the yellow on the slicks you see right there. Really, it comes down to these guys will go out on these wet weather tires, and they will move a tremendous amount of water, and you will start to see a dry line, but it won't be there everywhere. On the straightaways, they might search for some actual standing water to cool these rain tires back off, but the trick is, as soon as you feel that you can safely make a lap on dries, you need to be on dries because it is a huge advantage. We're talking tenths of a second in qualifying. This will be multiple seconds. The lap time will continue to improve. I mean, you look already. I mean, it's somewhat dry, or at least the standing water is moved. The Air Titans move so much standing water off that I think it's going to dry out pretty quick. Now it's easy for a crew chief to say because I don't have to drive through the puddles.
To the AMR safety team out there checking it out. Yeah, we did see the Air Tundras out there earlier, moving a lot of that moisture out of the way and the rain off of the racetrack. We mentioned, though, they can run on a wet racetrack, and that's what we're about to see as they're putting the window nets up. They'll fire the engines and roll them off. They've got wet weather tires on now. Who will change the quickest? We'll have a restart when we return.
So far, this race just a couple laps old, but here's the start as the field comes down the front straightaway, taking the green flag. The new restart zone, all spreading the field out. Little contact early, pushing Jeb Burton high off the racetrack.
And then you can see it. Ty Gibbs flexing his muscle, going by AJ Allmendinger. AJ couldn't defend it, and then lightning in the area. Caution comes out. Jeb Burton. Hey, man, what's going on? Well, I ran into you. You went up the racetrack.
The rain tires have come out. We got a little rain as well during that lightning thunderstorm, and so cars are all going to put those tires on, and this track's going to dry really fast, and that's the question, is who puts on the slicks first, because the teams can start on the wets and go out there and we'll race, throw the green flag, and then you come to pit road on your own terms to get the slicks, Steve. So that's the strategy for the teams.
Yeah, so NASCAR's required every team to put rain tires on, but that's where the requirement basically ends. Once you roll off pit road, it's back on you as a race team to manage this however you see fit, which I love these styles of racing. I think it makes it much more jumbled up, much harder to predict. I don't think there is a direct answer on when you change tires, Dale. I don't think there's a straight answer on where you run, where you don't run.
Under this lightning delay, it brings out fans from all around, and we have an interested observer that's watching. Kamui Kobayashi is standing by, and he's been watching. He's standing with Dave.
Yeah, he's on He is on the 20 pit box, guys. John Hunter Nemechek, obviously, is the car he's watching. Listening on the radio, he'll be driving a red numbered 67 tomorrow in the Cup Series race, qualified 28. So far, what have you learned listening to John Hunter and watching the race?
Well, I think, you know, I think for me, it's a lot of learning during this time. I mean, obviously, we had a 20 minutes practice in the qualify, 15 minutes. It's pretty short. You know, I never really done the race, you know, about stock car, NASCAR, so it's many regulations new for me. So it's better to watch and to learn as much as I can to be ready for tomorrow.
Was this something coming with that you had been wanting to do for a long time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I realized like 4 years old, I say I want to be a race car driver, that was NASCAR. So, you know, for a long time I was looking forward to racing in NASCAR, but it's take a while to come in here, but I made it, and now time to learning a little bit.
As you go through, you had a short practice, you mentioned, you're going to start the race in the back of the field. Can you concentrate on your race, or are you just going to have to watch out for everybody else, because they're kind of aggressive in this series? They're very aggressive.
Well, it's hard to say. I think first of all, you need the speed to fight. So I think at the first stage, like you run the speed still, where you're missing the speed. I mean, I know exactly after the qualify where I missed, so first I fix this, and then I will join the game.
Well, you guys know this. He is a bad man behind the wheel of a race car. Doesn't have another World Endurance Championship race for about a month, so this will satisfy his need for speed for now. We'll watch how he does tomorrow.
Yeah, third 23-11 entry, two-time winner at Daytona. He's been in the F1 field. He's won Le Mans. More than just a driver, he's a principal at the team as well. And Dale, you and I have seen it down at the Rolex. This is not a name I recognized. And back in 2019, this race, we were there covering it in the pouring down rain, and in the middle of the night, it was clear that he had pace for pace. Doesn't say a lot on the radio, stays quiet, super focused, and his just raw speed in that, I mean, it's unbelievable. It was a second faster than some of the cars in the field he was racing against at 3 in the morning.
Yeah, he's a freak, and I think that, you know, once this race gets started tomorrow, he's going to learn quickly. He's going to have the pace, he'll have winning pace at the end of the race. I think what he's most concerned about is things that he's not typically doing in the sports car world, and that's pit road speed. He has a limiter, a pit road limiter, to find the speed, and they've already shown that some this week. It's just those little things that are a nuance to just NASCAR that could make a difference in their day.
Again, that's Kamui Kobayashi watching this Xfinity Series race. You see 2311 on the breast of his shirts. The car's out on the track now, getting a feel for how wet the racetrack is. Marty, have we heard a lot on the radio from what we're hearing from the drivers?
Well, look at that shot right there. I mean, the track drying up in spots. There are a number of teams, including Sam Mayer, A.J. Allmendinger. They've talked about coming down pit road and not even taking the green with the rain tires. But, Steve, I go back to practice this morning, and Justin Allgaier, who spun out with the slick tires on, and I don't know, it looks way too wet for me to make that decision, but there are at least a number of teams considering it. There are sweeper trucks on pit road right now, so they can't pit right now. But when pit road is open, would you be willing to take that risk? I mean, just looking at that shot, way too wet in my opinion.
If the driver's all for it, I'm all for it. Be aggressive. You know, because look, we could run one lap, we could have a yellow, and if you pit right away, you could ride around for another 6 or 8 minutes as the track dries completely. So I like the aggression. Let's listen in to the 7 of Allgaier, who did run those slicks in practice for a half a lap.
Like the puddles are there, but the big dry patches too, right? So like, I think it's going to be interesting how quick it dries out, because I think it's going to be super fast.
So the interesting part to that is Cole Custer was asked a moment ago by Jonathan Toney, his crew chief, on the radio, Steve. He said, I just don't know if it's ready yet, but it's going to happen quick. And I mean like 2 to 3 laps quick. So would you be able to risk it for those 2 to 3 laps, put on the slicks now, be done with it?
Well, I mean, it's all risk versus reward. I mean, everyone is inside kind of a one-stop fuel window from here, so there's not another layer to this. I mean, such is all strategy calls, right? Risk versus reward. NASCAR has told us that they will opt to go to a single file restart. We'll see how long they stick with that. If it starts to dry up, they can also go back to double file, but man, I don't know. That looks pretty dry to me.
The thing that we noticed in practice this morning, Steve, is that what was happening is that the front straightaway dried out by the wall, but the drivers were going out of the dry groove looking for wet to save the wear on that wet tire, and they were pulling all the water back into turn 1. And so that's what could happen, is that there are going to be sections of the racetrack that are dry, but then the drivers will pull water back into it and get it wet again. And you know, racing in the rain is clearly, you have to have some dry spots. You can slide some, but initially you're in the wet, then it goes to dry. That can save the car, and that's going to be a development that we're going to just have to watch. And the sun came out. The sun was really high in the sky this morning. The sun's much lower today. I think the opportunity for it to dry isn't as good as it was this morning.
I want to get a few more updates before the green flag comes out. We'll start with Kim.
And Ty Gibbs currently holding the lead. I asked him during this break, how was the car on slicks and how was it on wets earlier in the day when you got to practice? He liked his car in both conditions, is willing to be very aggressive. Talk with crew chief Jason Radcliffe on what his prediction is, what we'll see here in terms of taking slicks off these wet weather tires. And he said it's going to get dry really fast. We have nothing to lose. Remember, Ty Gibbs on a part-time basis in this series, a Cup regular. So this team is going to be aggressive on their call, Dave.
Kim, John Hunter Nemechek has picked up a couple of positions since the start, and crew chief Ben Bayshore, he's in the same position as everybody else. Well, we practiced in the wet, so we know what that does, and then we got pretty good in the dry, got our rhythm there, so we're back to the wet here. So for a few laps anyway, we think we know what we're doing. Marty?
Dave, one bubble driver we have our eye on is Parker Kligerman. I talked to his crew chief, Patrick Donahue, just a second ago. He said, as far as he knows, you must take the green on the rain tires. You cannot come in before that to be able to put on the slick tires. He said Parker's biggest trouble when they went green last time was the IndyCar rubber really kind of threw him off. It really made the car handle way different than earlier today. Now, obviously, that's all washed off, so they feel like they will have a good car once they get back going. And Parker, obviously an excellent road course racer, Rick. I think he'd be good in the wet here.
Well, he's going to find out. That's going to be the situation. Again, as their nose to tail, single file for this restart. But then once that, as you mentioned, Steve, it could change to go back to double file restart.
So I hear what Patrick says, but I actually don't agree. I think at this point, you have satisfied NASCAR. You have put treaded tires on your car, and you've gone back on the racetrack. The laps are counting. I mean, racing is underway. I mean, there's the 10 right here. Let's listen in.
I mean, I'm game if you think that, but if I have to hang on for a couple laps and pit under, pitting under yellow is faster than obviously pitting under green, I can hang on. I try at least.
So
what's the worst going to happen?
Sam Mayer joins. So here's the thing. It takes 42 seconds to pit under green. So if you pit right now, as long as you don't lose 40 seconds on the racetrack on slick tires, if you can stay 10 seconds off the pace for 2 or 3 laps, you're going to net way ahead of these other guys. I love this call.
So, Steve, what did you say? It was all up to the driver. That was A.J. Allmendinger's stamp of endorsement to say, hey, I'm in. Let's try it. Why not? I can hang on with this quote. 3 rounds on the track bar is the adjustment here. That's a massive adjustment for these slick tires. A.J. going to have to hang on. So will Sam Mayer. He came down pit road. Now that they have a win in the bank for the one team, why not pit here? They're going to go to the slick tires as well, which you can see on the car with the yellow designation for the Goodyear on the sidewall of the tires. So there's the drivers that pitted. There's the drivers that did not. This is going to be fun to watch, Rick.
The one thing that concerns me, I guess, Steve, or my question would be, with the restart zone moved around the corner and where these cars are going to restart at the very back of a single file line, how much time are they going to lose during that entire process? Once we actually get under green and go an entire lap, how far behind are they, and how much time will they continue to lose until those slicks maybe come into play and they can at least match or better the rain tire?
Well, that is for sure a concern. I think what would be the perfect world for these guys is to run 1 or 2 laps and then have an issue that generates a caution. Because then the rest of the field is going to have to decide if they want to put slicks on. And everyone that pits that point, they're going to just jump right in front of. The most important thing now is that your driver on slicks knows what you're trying to do. And goal 1 would be keep it on the asphalt. No matter how slow you have to go, let's keep it on the asphalt. Let's creep our way up to this.
Yeah, I find it unacceptable that crew chiefs don't know the rules. I mean, that is the basis of what you do, is to know the rule of when you can pit and not pit. And
I am glad you did it, brother.
If you wanted to pit here and you didn't because you didn't understand the rule, then if I'm your driver, you and I are going to have a conversation tomorrow, Marty.
Well, the interesting thing, A.J. Allmendinger, as he was going down pit road very slowly, very carefully, told Chris Rice, he said, this is on me. It's either going to be dumb or really good. We're about to find out.
And Steve, you had mentioned a caution coming out and guys coming to pit road. Well, if this track dries out like we think it's going to.
Not if.
Well, when it dries out, they're all going to come to pit road anyway because they'll be going slower on those tires, so they've got to come to pit road. So that's an advantage for everybody who put the slicks on because they don't have to come to pit road once this track dries out.
Yeah, and they have fuel on board now, so that opens up a big portion of the kind of the playbook. Like I said, the risk is being wrong. I mean, okay, right here it's pretty wet, right? So the risk is being wrong and going off track, ending up in the grass, damaging a race car. I mean, it's
grass or in the gravel. We've seen that already as well on the Cup side during practice and qualifying. Yeah. That's another thing that could bring a caution out.
I mean, A.J. Allmendinger is going to have his hands full. Now, he's the best in the business. 11 times he's won, so let's kind of ride on board here. Let's see what A.J.'s going to do.
And so at the top of the screen, we're going to watch the restart, but we're also going to focus on A.J. Allmendinger on the bottom of the screen from his onboard, as well as looking back at him. He is on slicks, so definitely not wet weather tires for A.J. Allmendinger. How difficult will it be for him? We're going to ride along with him as they come up to the restart zone, getting back underway here at Indianapolis.
Behind these guys would be. He is just entering the restart zone right now. That's how far behind. The leader is all the way in the entrance to turn one. He's just left the restart zone.
Coming into turn one, and it gets very tight there. Again, A.J. Allmendinger so far behind right now.
21 seconds behind, so let's see what kind of lap time he can make versus the guys on wet tires. He's on slicks.
And the front stretch very wet, but the rest of the racetrack is drying pretty quickly.
See the drivers still shooting a little rooster tail down this long straightaway into the braking zone of turn 7. You think the straightaways will dry first. That's where they'll start moving around trying to find moisture to keep the temperature down in the tire. Oh, a lot of contact right there in the 91 around Ross Chastain.
One running 7.
He gets it straightened back out, no caution. You see this, AJ's caught up to Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Sam too on the slicks as well. Probably best for Sam to get behind AJ and just kind of follow AJ. Use AJ as a rabbit to understand how hard he can push the car.
91 here of Ross Chastain. He was running 11th.
Get some contact. Back bumper right there. 24 car.
Connor Mozak
gets into him and just enough to spin him around, and more contact for Connor. That's big damage right there on the right front as he's going to come to pit road. See way back top of the screen, A.J. Allmendinger getting down into the moisture on the front straightaway, trying to take temperature out of the tire. Can make this tire live a little bit longer. As it tries, it's so soft, it's going to wear really quick.
Justin Allgaier is what you're talking about there.
Sorry.
7. Yep.
So Allmendinger now, he's 28 seconds behind.
What I like about it, though, Jeff, is that lap right there was about 9 seconds off. So I think he will continue to get better. I mean, the track's coming to him, right? So if he can keep that 6, 7, 8 second a lap loss for 2 or 3 laps, we'll see if this nets out.
Well, you can see in the upper right corner of our screen, you see the leader of the 19 car, Ty Gibbs, and then the 10 car of AJ. That's how far back he is.
And again, the 19 still on the rain tires. Custer, Barry, Nemechek, Hill, all on rain tires up front. Off track was 26 of Kaz Grala, riding along with the Toyota onboard, looking back now at that 45, Sage Karam.
And you see these cars kind of tiptoeing around. What AJ is attempting to do, and Sam Mayer the same, is very impressive. This is Kaz. You just see deep into the braking zones, just not a lot of grip.
Yeah, you can see the rear tires hopping a little bit, trying to outbrake the 36 into the corner and just asking too much. Everybody trying to get down into this water here on the low side of the front straightaway.
see the dry groove starting to develop.
And that's to keep those tires cool, or at least cooler, by getting a little moisture on them?
Yeah, just to try to make the tire live longer. It's going to wear quickly, lose a lot of speed lap after lap. 7 laps to go. If you can take care of them, you might have a little bit more speed, more pace than the car in front of you, and gain a spot or two before we get to the end of this stage.
That lap, A.J. Allmendinger only 3 seconds off the pace.
Marty.
Rick, here's the other thing that's going to help out A.J. Allmendinger, who's now 31 seconds behind the field. Cole Custer saying, hey, the track is ready. So they're debating on coming in this lap to put on the slicks. So they were not on the rain tires very long, Steve. So that could really flip the track position back to Allmendinger's favor, who's already on the slicks.
32 seconds behind. We figure 40 to 42 seconds for a pit stop. So at this current gap, Allmendinger would end up cycling to the lead. Now that's a lot of assumption, right? We'll see how long everybody stays.
Okay, bud, we're going to pit this time. Remember that box on entry.
There you go, pit this time. The box on entry they're discussing is the pit entry box. It's hard to see, but it is driver's left right here in the grass. So the 00 is just going to go straight across right here. Did a nice job, and you see the 19 of Gibbs in. So this should cycle Allmendinger in front of these two on slick tires. We'll look at their pit stops, and then we'll blend these two reference to A.J. Allmendinger after their stop, Marty.
Yeah, so they debated coming 1 lap earlier for Cole Custer. They come now here with 7 to go in stage 1. So it's going to be interesting as he slides to a stop and install very long pit boxes here at Indianapolis, Kim.
And Ty Gibbs, you see bottom right. Remember, kind of backwards pit choreography. They start on the left side. They are putting those slicks on. They can be identified by that yellow Goodyear on the sidewall, Sunoco fuel. And Ty Gibbs is going to take service on pit road.
This blend isn't even going to be close because there are those cars leaving pit road, and on the right side you see A.J. Allmendinger car at the bottom of the screen, 2 cars behind him, the one of Sam Mayer. The 2 cars that gambled and went to slicks first are going to have a gigantic advantage on the teams that stayed out on wet tires.
So many different teams taking advantage of right now to put on those racing slicks, even though there is still moisture on some points of the racetrack.
And you can see just how difficult it is to get the power down and get going. The 19 twitching a little bit through the puddles on pit exit. Now he's got to learn all over again what this car can do on a damp racetrack, a track that's trying to dry quickly with slicks.
Some difficult decisions have to be made with only 6 laps to go. What do people like Parker Kligerman, Riley Herbst, Sheldon Creed, those guys are racing for points. They need stage points. What happens if they pit? Can they pit and still get those stage points? Right now they currently would get them, but if they stay out, will they get points but then hurt themselves later?
I'm not sure if they stay out they'll get points. I mean, A.J. Allmendinger ran the same lap as them. In the next 5 laps he's going to be 3, 4, 5 seconds of a lap faster. We'll just have to see as it all cycles, Dave.
See John Hunter Nemechek picking up the last of the remnants of the water there on the outside. Then he'll get those Goodyear wet tires off, and he'll put the slicks on. His car has been pretty good. As we mentioned, you know, got this practice early this morning, so knew what he was doing. Now wants to get back to that dry setup that was working for him in the sunshine. Kim?
You see bottom right, that's Austin Hill making his stop for the slick tires. They felt good about the car, weren't overly concerned about that left front damage that he sustained earlier in the race. So right now just putting on slicks for Austin Hill.
And a reminder, at the end of the stage, there's not a caution. There's no break that happens at the end of the stage. So these drivers are all continuing to race for position. Strategy now is out the window for quite a few of these drivers. But it looks as though the 10 of A.J. Allmendinger has made the right call. They were able to come onto pit road before the green flag came out. They have worked their way around the track, and A.J. Allmendinger could end up leading before the end of the stage.
Wow, you get to watch all your favorite stuff. It's to die for, and it's all right here. Streaming was never this easy, you know. This is the way. Really went all out, didn't you? It's called commitment. Can you turn on the volume? Here, you can try.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
You've got the force field, the moat, the saucy sheriff. No matter your cookout plate strategy,
Bush's baked beans make burgers taste better.
I love me a saucy sheriff.
At PNC Bank, you can find us in big cities and small towns across the U.S., where our focus is to always support the people who live and work there. Because you call these communities home, and we do too. PNC Bank.
Mara, are you sure you don't want to go bowling with us tonight?
Yeah, no.
There's my little marzipan. Oh, my daughter gives the best hugs.
We're just passing through on our way to the Jazz Jamboree. And we wanted to thank America's #1 motorcycle insurer for saving us money.
Mara, your parents are...
Exactly like me. I know, right?
Well, cherish your friends and loved ones.
Let's roll, Daddy-O.
Let's boogie woogie.
Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99. Applebee's. Now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
This is it. One last chance at a playoff push.
We know what we can do. I'm ready to go to work.
A few familiar faces have already booked their tickets. Others are red hot at the right time. While a herd of hopefuls have some hard driving to do. Those last spots are gonna go quick, so don't blink.
We all know Monday mornings are the worst. But Monday nights, that's a whole other story. Because that's when Raw is bringing that heat. So you better be watching Raw, only on USA.
NASCAR Fan Rewards is free to join. You earn points by watching races. You can answer trivia, play fantasy, buy race tickets, and more. You save those points, trade them in for free tickets or autographed merchandise, plenty more. Visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards. You're watching the Pennzoil 150 at the Brickyard after a lightning delay. After 7 laps had gone down, back to racing. Some went right out on the wet weather tires. Others chose to put on the racing slicks right away, thinking that the track would dry out faster. Parker Kligerman, one driver who's just below the cut line, and he was 18 points below the cut line at the start of this race. They're staying out trying to get stage points, Marty.
Yeah, to that point, Rick, coming in below the cut line. I like this call by Patrick Donahue. As of right now, they would be above the cut line, as you can see, plus 16 for Parker Kligerman, leaving them out. So Patrick Donahue making this call here on the rain tires to leave Parker Kligerman out. It might work out for them, Steve, even though A.J. Allmendinger is coming quick.
Yeah, I think A.J. might catch him, even Sam Mayer, because they were that aggressive group that Rick mentioned. But they like to be the only ones maybe close enough to catch him. You see that white car with the blue Xfinity across the windshield, that's A.J. Allmendinger, and in just 2 laps, I think he'll overtake the 48, but it's still a net positive gain for the 48 in the point situation.
The one that surprised me is, you know, the 98 of Riley Herbst. He was right behind Parker Kligerman 2 laps ago, and he decided to pit. I think that they gave away an opportunity to get some stage points here. You said it, Allmendinger's coming quickly, but there's only 1 or 2 others coming. I think the 98 is going to not get any points when they could have.
He was 6 seconds faster than race leader Hemrick last lap. There you see him go by him. So Allmendinger definitely faster than anyone else on the track right now on those slicks.
That was a nice job by Parker, though. That's not a position to contest. You're on a different plan here. I mean, you know, at this point, now the struggle is, I agree with scoring the points. So I like their plan. But, you know, you got to pay up at some time. And what's going to happen is he's going to pay up by losing a lot of track position.
Because, again, I got to remind you, there won't be a caution that comes out at the end of the stage. And so when he comes to pit road, A.J. Allmendinger's still going to be clicking off laps at 90 seconds.
We just passed Hemrick for the lead.
Now for Kligerman, it's all how many can he stay in front of. I mean, that's really the point now, right? The 48 has to go run 1 more lap. Here he comes, orange-nosed car right here. And behind him, Sam Mayer probably will get there as he comes into the screen that maroonish, goldish #1 right here behind Parker. He'll probably lose that spot. But I think that should be the only one.
He's got to come, actually got to come around and go by the start-finish line, so he's going to have to run another lap. If he went down pit road, he would go so slow that he wouldn't be scored. So he's going to have to go by the start-finish line and stay on track.
Yeah, and this is going to cycle
2 laps.
Way back, too. You know, it's really going to hurt when he does come to pit road. All these guys that have been out there running 5 seconds faster.
And also, after this is all said and done, when does NASCAR cycle back to a double file restart? For these drivers that do get cycled toward the back half of the field, we saw the big difference that it was for AJ and those guys restarting back there.
Yeah, that's a great point. I bet they're looking at. I'd be shocked if you see another single file restart.
That helps you if you have to lose some track position under the pit stops or the exchange of pit stops during the stage.
Again, Kligerman running right now in the 4th position. Their strategy: stay out, get as many points as they can at the end of stage 1.
Oh, we got a little smoke here.
Oh yeah,
Josh Williams. That's down the straightaway, so that's not a lockup or anything like that. There's just something going on with his car.
He's already on the slicks. You saw the yellow sidewalls, and it looks like AJ wins stage 1 as he goes across the stripe. Second stage win this year, second here. And again, AJ Allmendinger running full time in the Cup Series, so he's not gaining stage points, but he is taking them away from guys like Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, but a great move for Parker. 4th in the stage will get him 7 points guaranteed regardless of what happens. Everybody's watching this 92 to try to understand where the smoke's coming from. Now all of these cars, I imagine, are going to hit pit road next time by, Jeff, but you brought up a great point that they had to run a whole nother lap.
That lap is slow. I mean, you said it earlier. I mean, AJ Allmendinger is running a 92-second lap. Parker Kligerman 100 seconds. It's 8
right
seconds
here.
slow.
3 wide. Chandler Smith did a really good job showing some patience right there. They have so much more speed than the cars that are still on rain tires. The 16 on slicks, the 7 still on the rain tire.
NASCAR has told the 92, Josh Williams, to bring it onto pit road to find out what that smoke was from.
So the interesting thing is I understood Hemrick and Kligerman and the cars that needed points. So I'm a little interested on the 7's plan here. Now, I know he's racing in the regular season and trying, there's other things at bay, but it's definitely going to hurt the 7. You see the pace difference, right? So we'll have to see how it all cycles out.
Hemrick was on that same situation, trying to earn points. He's in good shape, should be okay to make the playoffs, but it's hard to give points up when they're right in front of you.
Oh, for sure. And as you mentioned, here they come. Hemrick, 48 of Parker. Everyone, you're going to watch on the left. You can tell who's still on reins because they should all pit this time by. Here comes the 7, the 8 of Josh Berry.
Marty.
Real quick on Josh Williams. He had a leak of some sort. They have taken the 92 car back to the garage. Parker Kligerman on pit road. Those 7 stage points now earned. But Steve, you mentioned it. You're going to have to pay the price right here. They'll fall back to about 15th or 16th for Parker Kligerman. Finally getting on those slick tires, Kim.
Well, the initial plan for Daniel Hemrick was to win that stage. Hopefully that's what team president Chris Rice came on the radio and told his driver. Well, maybe underestimated his teammate AJ Allmendinger as well as Sam Mayer. Still banks quite a few points, putting them in a good position on the playoff grid, Dave.
And Justin Allgaier is on pit road in the 7 now. Just take a look at that damage that he had from earlier. It looks okay. He'll change onto the slick tires from Goodyear. Also, Josh Berry is on pit road all the way at pit out. The 8 car finally to pit road. He wanted to stay on the rain tires. It was a driver decision initially, and then they said, you know what, we're just going to probably stay out till the end of the stage, which they did, collected some stage points, and now Josh Berry will get service and head back out.
Teams making their way onto pit road. If they hadn't put the slicks on, you see on the left side of your screen those that gained stage points at the end of stage 1. Again, Allmendinger and Gibbs not running full time in the Xfinity Series.
Back at Indianapolis, we had just talked about how Parker Kligerman gained points in stage 1. This is a second pit stop. They had a flat left front, and Steve, the valve stem was knocked out of the left front tire, lost all the air pressure. How could that happen?
Well, it can happen in multiple ways. Either the socket on the gun can hit it when they're tightening the wheel. That's kind of odd on the tires away from pit wall. That's usually on the closer times when they jack it. Sometimes a lug nut can hit one. contact with another car. So we've seen it happen before. Unfortunately for the 48, though, that flat tire is going to cost him a bunch of time on the racetrack.
He's being scored right now a lap down in the 35th position.
Now that Josh Berry, a little bit of luck right here. Watch, he puts the wrench in the back and off it goes, but he stalled the car, and that allowed the tire changer to pull it out. That would have been a penalty for Josh Berry. See right here, goes in, makes an adjustment. Josh starts to leave, he doesn't grab it, slows down, and then the tire changer gets it. Either that was a little bit of luck with him stalling the car, or potentially that was a great job by the crew chief saying stop, 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 and then the tire changer pulled it out. Marty.
So, Jeff, let me show you Parker Kligerman's left front tire. It actually was the inside valve stem, Steve, so that would indicate probably was not the air gun when they took the tire off. Would that have been a lug nut that maybe knocked that off?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, Marty. So basically, remember, in the Xfinity Series, at some tracks, they still run inner liners and regular inside the tire. So you have two valve stems, an inner and an outer. The inner one would be for the inner liner. Don't run inner liners here, but the wheels still have them. So hard for the air gun to kind of go in between those spokes and catch that one. So that tells me that super unfortunate. Like a lug nut can get on top of the brake caliper as the rotor, as the wheel spins around, it can knock it off. That is as defined as bad luck as you can kind of get right there.
Again, Parker staying out, wanting to get some of those stage points. He earned 7 for his finish in stage 1, but now running in the 35th position of the 38 cars on the track. So he's going to need some help.
Sorry, Rick, it shows you how important stage points are. By staying out and getting those points, you know, he's going to not maybe have a great day because of that problem, but he got the stage points when they're available to him. Now, you could make an argument that if he hadn't have pitted then, they wouldn't have had the problem. I don't know how you go on that, but you know, I just don't know that when you're in these tight battles, I just don't know how you give up stage points when they're sitting in front of you. I think you have to gamble, even if you give up track position later, and get them when they're available.
Dave, what about the other Parker Retzlaff?
That's right. He's the second one in the field. He was one of the first ones to pit for the slick tires, and so he got back out there and got going. Now you see him nice on the brake zone there. He said, I hadn't done very much road racing at all in my career before this year, but I went to one Skip Barber school, so Ross Chastain would be proud. Just getting his way around here now. Lost a couple of positions, Marty, but trying to hang in there now.
Dave, how about Chandler Smith, the rookie, having a nice run, sitting in the 6th position among those group that took slicks early on. I talked to Chandler this morning and said, how do you feel about road course racing? He said, I don't know. I didn't grow up doing it. I'm still learning it on the fly, and this racetrack certainly very difficult for me. And he told me, Kim, I want to finish top 5. If I don't finish top 5, I know how good our cars are. That makes me the weak link. I don't like being the weak link.
Well, Marty, there was a lot of expectation out of Sammy Smith this weekend because the team told me they are so comfortable on the road courses, but you're seeing that left front damage right now. That's suspension damage. They told Sammy, just hang on. We'll fix it next time you pit. So he's just having to ride it out until their pit window opens.
That camber looks significant on that left front, but I don't think that he has a problem with a tie rub or anything like that, but I'm not sure they'll be able to make the adjustments to be able to help improve that situation, Steve.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's tipped in much more than any other car, so it's either bent something in the suspension, the shims themselves have come loose. By looking at the damage, I'm going to bet on the bending. He's definitely hit something, and as you point out, he's able to make lap time, but it's going to wear that tire out very, very quickly, much faster than it should. So the 18 is going to have to kind of continue to alter their strategy to make sure they keep tires on it.
So again, there was a 43-minute red flag that pushed the restart back of this race for the cars to get out on track. One of the issues that they could run into is sunlight. I mean, the sunset here is 8:45, but right now the sun has just gone behind a big cloud that's off a little bit to the west of us here. And as we see Perez slow on the racetrack, this could be a problem here. Could possibly bring out a yellow flag, which we're seeing him stop on the racetrack.
Well, he's actually not on the racing surface, so he is on NASCAR, the NASCAR oval, right? So let's see where he's at. The racetrack is actually over here to the left, right?
Caution's out. Caution's out.
Yeah. So it wasn't a safety concern, but they have to go get him. That's basically what would be NASCAR turn 1. That's between, what is that, 12, 13, and 14 of the road course.
So fire under the hood there, and we see it burning on the right front wheel.
He said he was out of brakes, so you wonder if there's some sort of a problem with that caliper. Maybe it melted a seal, something like that, and the brake fluid's burning.
And now it's going to be a very stressful time because we already talked about the fuel window being 30 laps, 35 to go, maybe 34 to go. When the pace car picks you up, a restart with 33 or 32 to go, it's going to be right on a fuel window. To your point, Jeff, you can see the fluid, right, running out of that. Well, you could.
Yeah, it's just a hydraulic system, so if you lose fluid, even though it's 2 master cylinders, one to the front, one to the back, when you push the brake pedal, whichever master cylinder is controlling the problem, which this is on the right front, you may as well have no brakes because you push the brake pedal down, it does not engage the good master cylinder, it just slides into the bad one, and you have no brakes anywhere, front or rear.
And on the left side, you see the running order: Allmendinger, Mayer, Gibbs, Custer. We just got that great update on the 31 of Parker Retzlaff. Parker Kligerman with that flat tire. He's all the way down at 34th, a lap down. Ross Chastain is a lap down. So, you know, they have an uphill battle here with 35 laps to go in the race. They're going to have to try to figure out what options they have after we see the pit cycle.
Free passes come out when a caution comes out, but it's only to the highest scored lap down car, which when the caution came out, I believe it's going to be the 6 of Poole, who's running in the 28th position. So now the caution comes out, which means a restart coming up here at Indy. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Credit One Bank, a credit card company. Just the second caution has come out here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and the Xfinity Series still 34 laps to go. Tomorrow, the stars of the Cup Series take to the Indy Road Course.
Been running fast, crossing county lines just to make my name in the city. I worked for this for all these years and I wouldn't break or back down. No. I fought through all my fears and all of my frustrations. See the light is getting clear. I know I'm taking it now. It's my time. I'm taking it now.
Schedule on the left as far as Cup Series racing tomorrow. Guys, what are we expecting?
I'm looking forward to all the international talent we have. I hope that they all do well. I hope that it encourages more and more unique circumstances where we'll have more drivers come race in the Cup Series. Looking forward to seeing how those guys can run.
I was extremely impressed with how competitive practice was. A few guys stood out. Daniel Suarez sat on the pole. He's racing to get himself in the playoffs. He had incredible speed, but short of 2 or 3 at the top, there seemed to be about 25 cars that all could run the same speed. I expect a very competitive race tomorrow.
Nobody has said Shane Van Gisbergen is going to repeat on a road course. You don't think he can do it?
I think he can do it. You know, I think it's just going to come down to some great pit strategy, also some great clean laps. He's going to have a lot of competition, as Jeff said. Everybody's got a lot of speed around this racetrack. But, you know, just like at Chicago, he just kept getting faster and faster as the race went on. And very limited practice here, and I think we haven't seen his best yet.
Well, the difference in Chicago was that he had the pace right off the bat. He was the fastest car in practice. He was the fastest car on pace. He did not have that today. He does have an opportunity to gain some speed. Cars on pit road, Marty.
This is interesting because, as Steve pointed out, they are short to be able to make it to the end of the race. In fact, Chris Rice told me A.J. Allmendinger about 6 laps short here, but they think new tires will be way too important. A.J. said on the radio, the platform is much better. I just need more turn. I'm losing a lot of time, taking way too long to get back to the gas, Kim.
Well, for Ty Gibbs, the car is solid, but he said they're good until they get too hot. That means the brakes on that car. So they are going to check a couple of things, maybe adjust some tape at the front. They worked up the choreography. Crew Chief Jason Ratcliffe against the wall, making sure his team knew exactly what to do. Ty gets 4 fresh good tires, Sunoco fuel. Oh, and again, what I was talking about, they needed to make sure and check, and it looks like they're actually having trouble on the right front.
Stopped, came back, tightened it back up, and we have a restart when we return to Indy. Steve, we see him 2 by 2 now, a double foul restart.
Yeah, they went to single file just for the wet conditions, back to dry, so we're back to double foul restart. That 10 car inside of row 4. First guy off from pit road with fresh tires. He's going to be fun to watch.
Ty Gibbs back there in the row behind him in the 19 was maybe the best car so far in this race. He's gathered up a bunch of time with this caution.
Through the restart zone they go, and quick on the gas was the 10 of Allmendinger. We'll see if he's able to get by Ryan Sieg in the 39. They're 3 wide as you see that 10 working to the inside. Sam Mayer in the 1 on the inside of turn 1.
Oh, a little contact there. AJ's clear and through. Great move to the inside, and it paid off. Now into 5th place in this 10 car, going for 4th here on the inside of the 25. It's going to take that spot from Moffitt. Take an aim at the 7 car of Allgaier now, up in 3rd place. You see the field snaking through turns 5 and 6, headed to turn 7.
Again, Allgaier was on pit road on lap 21. Allmendinger most recently on lap 29. Still very congested here after the restart.
Oh, big contact right there, Rick. See, you getting shoved around.
Cole Custer to the 00, just in front of that 10 of Allmendinger.
Yeah, AJ's past the 7 now, trying to take away 2nd place from Custer.
Allmendinger's job right now through this complex is just to leave with forward momentum out of 13 so he can carry speed on to 14. This is 14 right here. You need forward momentum on that 00 to try to outbreak him into turn 1. You can see the 00 sliding around in front of him. Allmendinger was also sliding around. It's a long way to go now. Break him from here. Let's see if he can do it. Custer is not going to allow it.
A lot of racing still to go. There's 9 laps to go in stage 2.
Gibbs gets around Moffitt as well to go into 5th place in that 19 car. Custer losing a spot here to AJ. AJ now clear into 2nd place, going after Sam Mayer for 1st.
Sun back out from behind the clouds, and these drivers snaking their way through 6, headed to 7.
Whoa, 8 car Josh Berry missed the corner. Got in there a little bit too hot. Couldn't get the car turned. Riley Herbst and Austin Hill getting by him.
There's John Hunter Nemechek in the 20, just in front of the 11 of Hemrick.
Chandler Smith in the 16 now, trying to put the pressure on Josh Berry, but to his inside comes Nemechek. Nemechek will be offline for this next corner. Could lose a spot to the 11. Here comes the 11 of Hemrick to the inside. Now he's offline. The 20 fights back for the spot.
We talked about Parker Kligerman trying some strategy to gain points in stage 1. Well, right now he is the highest scored car 1 lap down, which would receive the free pass if a caution would come out.
Gets to the inside here of Allgaier.
I think that 19 car is the fastest car. They had a slow pit stop right there. Felt like they could have picked some spots up, but had a slow stop, lost a few positions. Ty trying to get them back. I feel like he's back even right now where he would have been, but a lot of work to get there.
AJ's closing in on Sam, but he's not getting away from this 19. Trying to keep that 10 car. Gibbs is trying to keep that 10 car in view. So I agree. I think he's just a little bit better than AJ here once they get into clean air. Marty.
Yeah, Junior, I checked in with Marty Lindley, the crew chief for Sam Mayer, right in front of A.J. Allmendinger. I said, why did you stay out? He said, well, we were short, but I really wanted that playoff point. I thought other cars would come with us. Steve, you've been in that boat before where you thought more cars would stay out on the racetrack and didn't happen. So looks like A.J. Allmendinger might steal that playoff point from Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Sam's got a big challenge with 8 laps to go to hold off 10 of Allmendinger, a little bit fresher tires, very good race car, and a very good road course driver. You see at the bottom left, that final pit window is for sure open now. So it'll be interesting if Sam Mayer gets passed by the 10, if he chooses to come to pit road or stay out for a few points, still 7 laps away.
Sam almost into the fence there. Okay, missed the corner, missed 13 a little bit. There's Allmendinger trying to outbrake Sam. Sam's a good road racer. It's not going to be an easy pass right here.
Talking to Sam earlier, he mentioned the confidence level that went up after winning that race just a couple races ago. And Sam Mayer said, you know what? Junior mentioned it. It was like 15 pounds off my shoulders. Now he races with confidence. The whole team races with confidence.
Wow, he gets into the back of the 10 car there. AJ struggling to get through the few corners once he cleared the one. Interesting set of circumstances. I think Sam was actually trying to let him through in turn 1. AJ wasn't sure if he was actually trying to let him through or not. So those two arguing or trying to sort that out has allowed Custer and Gibbs to close the gap a little bit behind them.
Mayer's win came at Road America. So his first Xfinity Series win comes on a road course. Now battling with A.J. Allmendinger for the lead here, running second. Listen to how high A.J. Allmendinger is revving that engine.
Yeah, he is. Sam Mayer, though, once Allmendinger got by him, really kept pace with him that whole lap. Yeah, I've always said, man, you get behind some of these road course guys, they're so good. Look at the contact there, Custer and Gibbs. Custer's like, man, hey, get a little bit of room there.
He just tried to turn us, go right into us after on the straight.
A little disagreement there. Gibbs is aggressive. Always kind of has been. But I think for Sam to be able to get behind AJ, now he's going to school. You know, he probably won't be able to hang with AJ long, but while he can, he's going to be learning so much being behind such a master at the road courses as AJ Allmendinger in the 10 car. So I love being able to be out there with the great road course racers and be able to see them go around the corners, and you're like, wow, okay, I'm not extending myself or pushing the car to that limit. The car can do more. I just need to trust it. So back in the field, Kaz Gralla, we saw him earlier have some issues again off course in that wet grass through the Geico sign. With the sun in his eyes and the car in his left rear quarter panel. He got a little help there. Chandler Smith to his inside.
Probably doesn't have a tinted visor, that's why it's not down.
No, it was tinted, it was just up.
I think he'd want to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Must be have a dirty windshield. I think the combination of maybe the windshield being a little dirty and the tinted visor makes it difficult to understand or see what he wants to see on the racetrack.
Looking back from the Toyota onboard of Kaz Gralla. Saw Josh Balicki there right behind him.
See back up front. See back there in that 4th place, the 7 car of Allgaier. He has been exceptionally fast. We talked to him before the race. They haven't been able to execute on that speed the last few weeks. Had winning race cars and just did not get the wins. I don't know if he has that pace today. I kind of feel like he's holding this group up behind, but if he gets a little bit of clean air, not clean air, but gets a little bit of breathing room from that 00 Custer where he can run the laps he wants to run. Let's see what kind of pace he has. I don't know it's there today, but it's very hard to focus, Dave, when they're right on your rear bumper.
And Jeff, he radioed his crew during that last caution, I'm going to have to nurse the transmission to the end. So doesn't mean it's broken, but Jeff, if you had to nurse it, I mean, you just couldn't be as aggressive as the other guys.
Well, nursing it means you have to be very positive with your downshift, meaning when things are working well, you give a little bit of throttle, get some RPMs in it, and you kind of push as you're getting a lot of pressure from Custer, you just push the shifter where you want it to go and it falls into place. When it's not doing that, you have to be very aggressive with your downshifts and your upshifts to make sure you get it in gear.
You mentioned pushing. Well, that's what Cole Custer has been doing to Allgaier. Now Custer looks to the inside, trying to take that spot away. We saw Sheldon Creed in the 2. He was getting aggressive behind the 0-0.
Allmendinger's going to make this tough.
Oh, both off track.
Yep. Oh, the 0-0's around Cole Custer.
That's a very tough spot to spin. All those cars coming on right at him. He went toward them actually and spun out of the groove.
Yeah, you know, beating on the back bumper, that 7 car back there in turn 4, 5, and 6. You just had enough. I'm gonna race you hard, man. Sending him into the grass here.
He was running 4th, spun around, now back on track, but outside the top 20. Allmendinger still up front here at Indy.
Wow, you get to watch all your favorite stuff. It's to die for, and it's all right here. Streaming was never this easy, you know. This is the way. Really went all out, didn't you? It's called commitment. Can you turn on the volume? Here, you can try.
Get way more into what you're into when you stream on the Xfinity 10G network.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
You've got the force field, the moat, the saucy sheriff. No matter your cookout plate strategy,
Bush's baked beans make burgers taste better.
I love me a saucy sheriff.
At PNC Bank, you can find us in big cities and small towns across the U.S., where our focus is to always support the people who live and work there. Because you call these communities home, and we do too. PNC Bank.
I watched my first race yesterday.
You're on the team, kid. It's orientation day.
Hey, new guy. Let's get you up to speed.
Lunchtime.
Your workspace is ready.
Looks like you got a corner office.
Be part of something greater. Toyota. Let's go places.
Hey, Jamie.
So, what am I up to? Just visiting a special secret client. I can't say who it is, but let's just say she bundled her dream house and her dream car for round-the-clock protection with Progressive.
Oh.
She has another house in Malibu. She's been an astronaut, an architect, a CEO.
We're in front of her house, dude.
Well, I'd love to tell you who her boyfriend is, but I don't think I can. I'd love to tell you, but I don't think I can.
Marty, in theaters now.
It all builds up to this at Darlington Raceway.
If you're going to kick off the playoffs,
Good stop, guys.
why not do it big?
Green flag is up.
Like Labor Day weekend big.
That's how you make a move.
And a round goes through it.
Like Southern 500 big. The only thing bigger than the action will be the experience of seeing it live.
Bring it home, baby.
And that might just be too tough to take. Get your tickets now at darlingtonraceway.com.
The NFL season kicks off Thursday, September 7th, when Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs host the Detroit Lions, the NFL season opener. That's only on NBC and Peacock. Steve, I didn't see your Patriots in there.
It's going to be a little bit of a bumpy year
for the Patriots. This just happened. Daniel Hemrick on the inside of John Hunter Nemechek. You see a little slide, and Nemechek might have helped out Daniel Hemrick there.
Well, Nemechek's thinking, man, I gave you the inside. I know you didn't mean it.
Yeah, and the nose on the 20 takes a beating there on both corners. You see. There, yeah, see the tire rub on the right front for Nemechek. Quite a bit of damage.
Now you see the smoke.
Yeah, right front fender, side of the nose caved in.
Nemechek in a regular season point battle with the 21 of Austin Hill. Austin Hill running 5th.
Currently on the final lap of stage 2. Again, no caution will come out at the end of the stage. See the regular season standings. Nemechek and Hill came into this race tied for season points. Allgaier 34 back, Custer 111 back, as Hemrick and Smith are fighting for position here. Dave.
Meanwhile, Sheldon Creed, who needs stage points and needs points as he's on the bubble, as Daniel Hemrick continues to give the bumper to the 16. Sheldon has moved from 11th all the way up to the 4th place during this stage. If he hangs on here, he'll get some nice stage points. Has said the car has been quite good. No real changes wanted. And we will see if they have to stop again for fuel.
These guys are teammates. It's 11 and 16. I don't know what's going on here. Who's after who here? None of these guys are real happy with each other. Last couple corners have been pretty tough.
We know John Hunter was not happy with Daniel Hemrick.
Yeah, but
that move in turn 1.
But he went by him, right? Given the opportunity to go and run into him, he just decided to go past him. Shows a lot of maturity on that 20 car. Kim.
And just a quick update about the Hemrick machine. They got on the radio and gave a very quick and very direct, you need to be smart here. Again, this team trying to get a good finish here to build their playoff points and get a position, if not a win, before the playoffs start in 5 weeks.
And Kim, we're seeing the results of stage 2. Allmendinger swept stage 1 and 2. See a lot of tire smoke now on John Hunter Nemechek on that right front.
And so Sheldon Creed getting those stage points there, that's a big deal for him, with Parker Klingerman having trouble sitting there a lap off the pace. But if a caution comes out right now, Parker's in that free pass spot, so he's hoping for that yellow flag if it'll come before the leader starts to begin lapping more cars, right? The next car to go a lap down would be Cole Custer, Ryan Sieg. So Parker's hoping for that yellow to come out.
Yeah, Parker stayed out in the first run. He got 7 points. Then Riley Hurt stayed out this second run. He got 6 points. And Creed, this second run also, he got 7 points. So that move by Parker staying out on a racetrack, all it did was kind of made everything even. But had he not done it, he could have lost points.
Oh. But as long as Parker's trapped a lap down, that just doesn't allow him to be able to get himself back into this race and climb back up through the field to be able to get himself back into the battle at the bubble line. If we finish the race right now, 43 points between the 2 and the 48.
Marty.
So Marty Lindley wanted to get the playoff point for Sam Mayer. They didn't get that, but what they have done, Rick, is scored the most stage points of any team today with 17 for Sam Mayer. He said, I just need more turn late in the run. Too tight, both in the left-handers and the right-handers as well for the winner at Road America, Kim.
Daniel Hemrick also on pit road during this lap, telling his team, I don't have as much lateral grip and I need more forward drive to call. They look to make a chassis adjustment. You see the team on the left side. Right now it will be, okay, a little bit slow there for this team. 4-tire Sunoco fuel chassis adjustment on Hemrick, Dave.
John Hunter Nemechek now brings the 20 car down pit road. The crew will get a better look close up at that damage here. See if they do anything for that. Mainly the right front headlight caved in. They will get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, a tear off, so John Hunter can see better, but no real adjustments for the car right now as he tries to ride it out to the end, try to get another win here, but it's going to be tough. Oh, tire gets away.
We saw the fender getting smacked out so that they could try to get some clearance there on the right front.
Yeah, as somebody's having a really good day. Josh Balicki sitting there running 8th place, pretty much on the same strategy as everybody around him as far as when he last pitted. Josh doing a really good job in this race car. Has good speed. We just saw him make some good quality passes. Good race car driver showing what he can do right now.
Had a top 10 at Road America this year. His best Xfinity Series finish. Looking to have another great run today.
Josh Balicki doesn't run the full season, so only his 7th start this year. Dave?
Riley Herbst brings a 98 to pit road. The beginning part of the run was okay, but on the later part of the run, he was losing that old rear lateral grip. So they'll make an adjustment there, possibly just air pressure adjustment for Goodyear Tires. Sunoco fuel going on for him, and he'll get that tear off as well. Vision, a big deal now as it's getting a little bit darker here around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Can't blame Vision on what John Hunter Nemechek did. Was speeding coming off of pit road, and so he'll have to come back to pit road to serve that penalty.
And that's a tough situation for that team because they did take a little bit extra time to beat this damage out. So a long pit stop plus the penalty is going to send them way down in the standings. We talked about at the top of the show, John Hunter Nemechek, kind of the favorite right now to win this championship. But they have to minimize these type of mistakes. It seems to be something that John Hunter finds himself in from time to time. Allmendinger coming to pit road, Marty.
Yeah, riding on board with the leader, A.J. Allmendinger, who has 21 laps to this point. Here he comes down pit road. So there was a bit of a debate here about when they would come down pit road. They saw how critical Goodyear tires were here. So they're going to take on 4 tires here and get the Sunoco fuel they need to the end. They were, again, 6 laps short the last time they pitted, Kim.
And it's going to be a battle between A.J. Allmendinger on pit road and Ty Gibbs. Makes a stop in his box. He didn't have any complaints in terms of that car. It has been rock solid all day long. 4 tires is the call. Sunoco fuel for Ty Gibbs finishing service on this end of pit road.
Looks like pretty clean pit stops for the leaders as the 34 is stopped.
It's Andre Castro. He's in that runoff area of turn 1. Let's take a look at how it happened.
He's broken something in the back. It looks like the track bar on this car is broke. And that's the tire smoke. That's tire smoke from the tire, rubbing the quarter panel. So he's going to pull this car off the racetrack. He's recognizing there's an issue.
Oh, man, look at these guys side by side off pit road, the 10 and the 19. So that's a position change on pit road. The 10 led the 19 onto pit road. And the 10 loses position during pit stops, Marty.
Yeah, that was a long stop for A.J. Allmendinger and his team. I believe it was right rear Steve. We're going to follow up, but obviously you see it there. The track position flipped. A.J.'s on the attack, though, trying to get the lead back.
He's on the attack, and you see on the left-hand side Creed, Clements, Balicki. Oh, caution. Oh, man. So this is not what those...
Caution somewhere, caution.
And so the caution, we're assuming, may be for the 34 car and where he's parked. So he's parked down here at the runoff of turn 1. NASCAR deemed that a dangerous situation for that car to be sitting in right in front of those tire barriers.
So the 2 of Creed was trying to come to pit road when the caution came out. So we'll have to see whether he entered before pit road closed. I haven't seen him stop at his stall, so if he knows he entered under a red...
the light was.
It doesn't sound like he's already making an excuse for coming down to pit road when it was closed.
No, they're going to stop, it looks like.
Well, so it's a...
Guys, they were not sure at all. They were asking the spotters, did you see, did we make it? There was not a lot of communication to help them out, so they went ahead and pitted him. Remember, he's made up all this ground, a little tight in the left-hander, so he'll get a little adjustment for that. But that was really close. The team knew it from the start.
So if he makes it with pit road still open, this is a huge break for Sheldon Creed. He'll gain track position. If pit road was closed, this will be a penalty for pitting under a closed pit road. It'll be tail end. Let's take a look right here. So right here is the light. Over here, you see it looks like it's already red in my mind. Yeah, I mean, it's not green. It's already red. So you see the yellow flag being waved. I mean, that one's not even very close at all. That one is for sure. Pit road is closed. So the 2 will start tail end for pitting on a closed pit road. Now, what they could have done is not stopped, rolled through, and there's no penalty. You just blend where you would have. And they do that because, it's kind of a instant reaction. Right. He's pitting. Man, I couldn't just turn left, or I would have been in traffic, or couldn't stop the car. So you can proceed through pit road, but they chose to pit. And it was pretty clear on that replay that it was absolutely closed.
And I think we saw the 91 there of Ross Chastain going into the garage.
Yeah, I think Chastain has some suspension issue as well in the back of that car, something maybe similar to this 34 car.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see track bars broken on road courses as they're turning and hitting the curbs. It puts a tremendous amount of force on the bracket, on the track bar itself. And if the parts aren't built 100% right, if they've been fatigued a little bit before, they can fail.
So Andre Castro brings out the third caution of the day. The 24-year-old out of New York City, making just his second start this season. The 2 is going to have to restart at the tail end of the field.
And the 78 is going to be the free pass, which is unfortunate for the 48.
Yeah, this was that opportunity, right? That yellow that he was hoping for, Letarte, to get. I'm telling you, if you trap down one lap. But now the 2 has made a mistake. So now he's given a bunch of points back coming to pit road when it's closed. But he does have that opportunity on the lead lap to hustle back through the field as much as he can with only a few laps remaining in the race.
All the little things matter. I mean, you know, like not understanding where that light is to look at it. See, now pit road's going to be full from everybody. Was not able to pit before that caution came out.
Yeah, Jeff, they're going to have to fall behind all those who did pit earlier before the caution came out. But Sage Karam, so many terrific runs here in the Indianapolis 500, also on the Indy road course as well, trying his hand at the Xfinity race after that terrific finish at Road America a couple weeks ago. Comes in third right now. Car just way too tight. Their biggest concern, they have significant right front damage here. They're going to have to get that knocked out to make sure there's not a tire rub, Kim.
And you see Jeremy Clements in the middle there. He told me this morning that he felt like they've had good speed at road courses. They've just faced bad luck. A solid day for them would be a top 15, a top 10 as they get 4 tires. Sunoco fuel, Dave.
Parker Retzlaff gives up 4th position, brings the 31 to pit road for Jordan Anderson Racing. He said, I've lost all grip, so the 4 fresh Goodyear tires, that will help for sure. Not sure what else they can do for him at this point.
A lot of changes have taken place. We'll tell you who receives the free pass, who's back on the lead lap, and again a restart, 2-wide restart. That will happen when we return. Ready for the restart as the pace car makes its way onto the access road and back to pit road. The field in the hands of the 19 of Ty Gibbs. Great restart for the 10 of Allmendinger. We'll see if he tries to outbrake him into turn 1. He went to the inside of the 19, but couldn't complete the pass.
He's got to keep the pressure on. Oh, the 9 car, Brandon Jones around. Back up front. Dyson through 5 and 6 here, headed to turn 7. Can AJ put the pressure on in the braking zone? A little distance, about a car length and a half between him and the 19 of Gibbs.
Coming up on 15 laps to go in this race. As once again he looks to the inside. Does he outbrake you?
Contact. Oh, way back in the field. Several cars off the racetrack. Look like Hemrick in the grass.
Sam Mayer puts the bumper to the back of the 10.
Austin Hill at the back of this battle in the 21 car. Always seems to show up at the end of these races.
I think Allmendinger knew that he needed to try to get Ty Gibbs right there. Ty has been I think he's been the fastest car all day. Hasn't always had track position. I think Allmendinger knew it, trying to make something happen.
Hill look to the outside. Now maybe the crossover move here on Allgaier.
And a little bit of cleanup because it was a bit chaotic for that yellow. So as we see right here, a pass between the 21 and the 7. The 98 of Herbst no longer in the screen. He was speeding under his green flag stop, which basically put him to the tail end for this restart. And Parker Kligerman, the penalty on the 2, as crazy as this is going to sound, that was the only car that had Parker a lap down. So when the 2 was penalized for pitting under the closed pit road, that moved Parker Kligerman back on the lead lap, and he's up to 15th and coming. A very good road racer trying to make the most of it.
And back to only 14 points separating Creed and Kligerman for that final spot in the playoffs.
Whoa, the 6 car. Brendan Poole almost turned around there, dropping a tire off in the grass.
Mozak right here entering, turning into the corner. Right front damage. See it smoking.
Cole Custer trying to drive through this pack of cars. Kaz Grala in the 26. Ryan Sieg back there in the 39 and the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek. Here's Jeb Burton. Moffitt as well. Dog fights back here in the pack. Oh, Jeb Burton's going to dive to the inside here in the braking zone.
See the 11 and 16 pitting.
Big damage to the nose of that 16. The 11 also ended up in the grass. Look at that. Oh, Parker sends Poole into the dirt.
We saw Brandon Jones turned around earlier. This is why.
It's 3-wide racing. Got the bad end of the deal there, and this is what happened. Oh my gosh. That was, Bozak came in there out of nowhere, cleans out the 16 and the 11. That was a hard lick.
3-wide battle again. It's not worked out very well anytime it's tried. This time they all found a way to make it work.
Laps winding down, and it's getting rough out here on the track.
Yeah, the respect level's dropping. Closer we get to the finish. Yeah, closer.
It's just, we threw it right out the window.
I love it, man. It's fun to watch. I mean, you know, bad for some of these guys to get the bad end of the deal, but sure is entertaining.
See what Brandon Jones does here in the 9. He was on the outside here as they get into turn 7.
Kyle Weatherman there getting a little business from the 0-2 car. Perkins in that car today.
Preston Pardis in the 50 trying to hold off Brandon Jones. Gibbs out in front of Allmendinger by 1.8 seconds now.
Saw a big right front lockup. A little bit of damage, yeah, to the 10 car. Right front fender.
How about Sam Mayer won that race at Road America, and here he is running Allmendinger down for second.
Yeah, I wonder if the damage that AJ has to that right front is hurting that car at all. Marty.
Boy, drivers throwing haymakers out there right now, aren't they? AJ Allmendinger does have a little bit of damage. Chris Rice told him, hey, they lost control of the race. That was our bad. We lost it on pit road. Dinger gained a little bit of ground on Sam Mayer right here. But Dinger came back very calmly on the radio, said, doesn't matter, our car's way too tight. So Jeff was right on it by saying that was his shot to be able to get by Ty Gibbs. Meanwhile, Sam Mayer right behind him, they said, hey, driving too hard. Right now, back it down just a little bit. You can still catch the 10. Kim?
Marty, let's get a Toyota driver update. Ty Gibbs out front. Remember, he's a 3-time road course winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And the goal this weekend, running on the Xfinity side, was to get more comfort on the Cup side of things. Just more experience at this racetrack, because Ty has a huge opportunity ahead of him on the Cup side of things. Currently in the playoff picture, just +3. And so they think this is going to inject a huge boost of confidence for Ty on the Cup side of things. Currently P1.
P1, 1.7 second advantage right now. Let's take a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory lane.
Well, we just saw how aggressive things are the few laps after a restart. We can imagine what it's like if we get one later. You're going to have to survive it, but you also have an opportunity to gain some position.
And the best advice in NASCAR road course racing is to stay on the asphalt. You know, if you can stay on the asphalt, minimizing mistakes, you can have a great finish.
Well, and when is the finish? We have sunlight now, and there's enough time if we run green. But if we get multiple yellows, that sun is going to set very quickly. Will we run the full distance, or will this end up being a shortened affair?
Taking a look here at Jeb Burton and Ryan Sieg down into turn 7. Jeb locks up the rear tire, starts wheel hopping, and gets into the 39, and that sends Sieg around. Just trying to get down in the braking zone. Everything's hot. The brakes are hot, and they don't perform quite as well late in these races. You try to get everything you can, trying to do what the car did at the start of the race, and you're not going to get that performance down in the braking zone, and that wheel hopping is going to start.
So how about this drive for Parker Kligerman? We saw he got in trouble, had that left front tire flat early in the race. Now he's battled back. He's running in 10th spot right here with a fast race car, a little bit quicker than the cars in front of him. So he's got an opportunity, Marty, to gain even more spots and gain some points.
Yeah, he snuck through there and got 2 on that little wheel hop by the 27 a moment ago. And after that happened, they came on the radio and they told Parker, we're not done. We can still get more positions. What an incredible rally for Parker Kligerman after that flat left front after the second stop of the day. Here they are in the top 10. Unbelievable.
And Steve, you mentioned it, because of the 2 and the penalty, he was able to get back on the lead lap. Now he went from running 27th to already in the top 10.
Applebee's all-you-can-eat boneless wings, just $12.99. Applebee's, now that's eating good in the neighborhood.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
You've got the force field, the moat, the saucy sheriff. No matter your cookout plate strategy,
Bush's baked beans make burgers taste better.
I love me a saucy sheriff.
Back in my day, we didn't have all these types of fancy chicken.
Pretty sure you have buffalo wings and fried chicken.
Well, we didn't have garlic parm or sweet bourbon barbecue.
And he had to walk uphill both ways.
And it snowed every time.
Yeah, right, Grandpa. You're from Miami.
Holy cannoli, look at this. It's like a science project.
Ordering lunch. Easy for you and me, but can be so difficult for a young homeowner turning into their parents.
Are those all different lettuces?
Yes, sir. Brown rice, white rice, or quinoa.
We're gonna need a minute.
Do you have any food allergies? Well, my teeth are sensitive to cold.
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
That'll be $19.45. Oh, I'm just paying for my own salad.
Why did we choose Safelite? For us, driving around is the only way we can get our baby to sleep. So when our windshield cracked,
We can't drive this.
we needed it fixed right. We went to Safelite.com. There's no one else we'd trust. Their experts replaced our windshield and recalibrated our car's advanced safety system. They focus on our safety, so we can focus on this little guy.
Safelite Repair, Safelite Replace.
There's a buzz in the air at Kansas. Maybe it's the roar of fans here at the track, or the anticipation of the playoffs as drivers fight to move on to the next round and keep their championship hopes alive. Maybe it's the pulse of the heartland, the thrill of speed, or the sounds of grills sizzling in the campgrounds. Whatever it is, it will be one memorable weekend, and here's sooner than you think. NASCAR Playoffs Weekend at Kansas Speedway. Get your tickets today at kansasspeedway.com.
You can get amazing deals at the NASCAR shop. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts and hats, die casts, and much, much more. All you have to do is visit NASCAR.com/shop. Only 9 laps remaining in the Pennzoil 150 at the Brickyard for the Xfinity Series. We see Parker Kligerman in that 48, owned by the 25. Brett Moffitt. Kligerman running in the 10th spot right now and has taken the 9th position away from Moffitt, but here comes Sheldon Creed in the 2.
Yeah, remember, he was the car that had to start at tail end because he came with the closed pit road. So basically Parker and Creed started shotgun, and they are driven. This is an impressive drive. I mean, they're all the way up inside the top 10 at the moment. The 98 of Herbst was keeping up. He's not too far back. He's in 13th, so really good drive out of all of the Bubble drivers, Kim.
And a good drive today for Brett Moffitt. This team was looking to kind of turn things around after the last 2 weeks hadn't gone their way, and they had a really strong string of finishes over the summer 11th or better, including a 4th place finish at the Chicago Street Car. So that was the best finish for that team so far in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Right now, Brett just complaining when he gets on the throttle. The rear is tending to come around, so that car a little bit loose off the turns.
Little lock up there for the 2. Right there in front of Moffitt. You imagine Creed's pushing as hard as he can. to be able to try to take a spot back away from Kligerman.
Creed has to not push himself too hard. That's where Creed's got himself in trouble. There's been a majority of the races that Creed's been in this year, he's had problems on track, and he's right there with Parker. Do not make a mistake and let Parker get away from you with points. Just sit there and don't. Oh, there he goes off track. You just right there. Got in the corner too deep. Moffitt got back by him. Those are the things that have gotten him in trouble all year long.
Rick, I'm going to give you credit. You were not talking about Sheldon Creed at that moment.
I had nothing to say about Sheldon Creed right then as he gets in just a little bit deep here.
Just again, trying too hard and did a nice job of saving the race car, but these are the things that have hampered his ability to have better finishes than he's capable of. He's got speed. He's just pushing all the time, and he pays the price for that. He's learning. Young race car driver, great success in the truck series, trying to learn how to run the entire race in an Xfinity car.
He pushed again and was able to push by Brett Moffitt. And slow on the racetrack. Yeah, stopped now is the 16. And so Chandler Smith, he's rolling once again.
He's on the run off of 11.
Oh, he did the stop and go.
Yep. He must have missed part of the track or something. That car is damaged heavily from a crash in turn 7.
Looks like short track racing. Some of these cars, the damage that we're seeing to them.
Yeah, it's tough for these teams.
There's Perkins.
0-2 out in the grass.
Turn.
Looks like the end of turn 7.
That's turn 8, 9. Now he's going through 10 here. Got a flat tire, I believe.
Down looks like right front.
Must have had a big lock up into 7, blew the tire out, ended up through the grass. Now just trying to get around the pit road.
Is he dropping debris on the racetrack though now?
I don't believe so. But let's see here. A little contact's going to probably cause this flat tire right there. Turn 8 and 9.
That was immediate.
Yeah.
The second they touched it, damaged the tire.
This is why Chandler ends up going straight through turns 11. Just locked it up, couldn't get turned. So he's got to stop here to avoid a penalty.
That was Ty Gibbs, the race leader that almost got into Chandler Smith.
Connor Mozak in the 24 just in front of Brandon Jones. Things heating up between these 4 cars.
Yeah, these guys are running just outside the top 20.
Under 7 laps to go. Want to get a few updates as we're now under 6 laps remaining. Kim.
And Austin Hill currently running in the 4th position. If he holds that finishing spot or better, it's going to be his 5th straight top 10 on road courses. 4 of those being top 5 in the last 5 road course races. And it shouldn't surprise anyone because this team has worked very hard on what they're bringing to the road courses. In fact, crew chief Andy Street told me at Sonoma they started to differentiate themselves from what the 2 was bringing to the track. The 2 of Sheldon Creed, their teammate, they said the front end package has gone in a very different direction. That has really played to Austin's favor. Right now, Austin's saying he has good fire off speed, but loses rear lateral in the final 4 to 5 laps of a run, Dave.
Checking it on 5th and 6th. First, Justin Allgaier very quiet on the radio last run and this run. His team told him your fall off was darn near 0. So working hard, concentrating. So far that transmission holding up well for Allgaier. And a great run for Kaz Grala coming back for Sam Hunt Racing from a spin and damage and contact and all that. This, if he finishes here, this would be his 2nd best finish of the season. And a great run today for Kaz. Marty?
Dave, it wasn't a few laps ago that Cole Custer was in the top 5. Now just trying to hang on in 7th. He got a flat spot earlier on, and he said when he hits the brakes pretty hard, the tires find that flat spot again. So having to be very careful with the brakes in the 0-0 with 5 laps to go. And look who's been one of the quickest cars on the racetrack for the last few laps. Parker Kligerman has been running some quick lap times. They're still encouraging him. Long way to go to get a John Hunter Nemechek, but that's 1 more spot and 1 more point he could gain, Rick.
Less than 5 laps now remaining from Indy as Kligerman is about 2 seconds behind John Hunter Nemechek. See another car off track, and contact made. John Hunter Nemechek gets turned around.
That's another spot right there for the 48 and the 2.
And there goes a 98. All three of those guys, they always seem to race for points every single week. All three of them got by John Hunter.
So Kaz Gralla down here in the braking zone, slides the rear tires, tries to get back on the racetrack here. And I know that Kaz Gralla's offline, trying to rejoin. That's just, I don't know, man, that's tough to call. The 20 could have given himself a little more room there, but it's hard to get. It's hard to get through that turn 1. You're riding on board. So Kaz is right there against the curve, just trying to get going again, and John Hunter come through there.
See the damage to Kaz Gralla.
Now this is another opportunity for Parker. He's got a little more pace, I believe, than the 26 to take another spot. Going to have an opportunity possibly down here in the braking zone of turn 1. He's going to look. Not going to charge the corner.
Well, last time through this turn, Gralla got off line.
Yeah,
this time way better.
A lot of times you look left, even though you might not be intending to make a pass or charge that braking zone. You're doing two things there. You're getting out of the mirror and bothering the driver up front. He may think you're trying to charge the corner, so he may make a mistake, overdrive the entry, but you're also getting a little bit of cool temperatures into those brakes, into those ducts.
Under 4 laps to go, and Gibbs continuing to pad his lead. It's over 5.5 seconds now over A.J. Allmendinger. 3 times Ty Gibbs has been to victory lane from road courses, and they've all been different tracks.
You see Parker Kligerman right here. He saw Kaz Gralla miss turn 1. That means that's his weak spot. So Parker's job right now is to stay as close as he can and have forward momentum. There you go, or just do that. Just turn right and pass. I thought he was trying to set him up through this complex and then trying to pass him in 1, but Parker's able to take advantage of him in turn 12.
Mr. Marks, let's go get that next one.
Under 3 to go. And issue with the 39 of Ryan Sieg.
And another track bar issue on this car. Track bar is broken, so he will be done.
You see that right rear when he turns to the right, it came almost out of the bodywork there. And here's Kligerman with Gralla and Creed behind him.
Gralla's pushing his car as hard as he can. You can see he's trying to keep the 2 behind him, but he just does not have the car right now. It'd be really easy for him to overstep his bounds.
This is an incredible run, though, for Sam Hunt Racing. One of the teams that runs without any affiliation to a Cup program. A lot of these teams have that connection to the Cup programs in the series. But he's out there competing with the big dogs.
Creed putting the pressure on Gralla now. Pressure and the bumper.
Wow. Creed's ready to take this spot away. He doesn't want to let Parker get too much distance. He's like, hey, maybe I can run down Parker and get that spot as well, so I need to get by this 26 Kaz Gralla.
I give Kaz credit. I think he could tell this is not a battle he wanted to be in. He gave it a fair fight, right? But there's a point where too much is too much.
Under 2 laps to go. Can Creed catch Parker Kligerman as we see the 19 again increasing his lead? 6.3 seconds separating Ty Gibbs from A.J. Allmendinger. Twice before on road courses, Gibbs and Allmendinger have finished 1 and 2, trading the wins. There's the distance, and Allmendinger coming out on the screen as he came out of 6.
I'll tell you guys, Ty Gibbs has had the fastest car today, and I'm not so sure he doesn't have the fastest car for tomorrow. See, Allmendinger missed the corner. Sam Mayer trying to take advantage of it.
Sam Mayer takes second away from Allmendinger and slides through the turn.
What a great drive for Sam. You got to feel good anytime you go by Allmendinger at a road course.
AJ had a little bit of rear wheel hop. The lockups from just trying to, keep the car on the surface of the racetrack. The rear slid in the braking zone there, and Mayer was able to take advantage of it.
Onto the front stretch, and one lap to go. Presented by Credit One Bank for Ty Gibbs. The 20-year-old into turn one for the final time. Ty Gibbs has been out front for 27 laps today. 21 times Allmendinger led. Mayer was in front for 5 laps, and a good recovery for Sam Mayer.
We heard Allmendinger mention what this race could do for his confidence tomorrow in the Cup car. Well, you wonder what it will do for Ty Gibbs right there just above the bubble, doing a nice job in the Cup car.
He's starting 10th tomorrow, and he had very good pace. Actually, I didn't think he qualified as fast as he was in practice.
He runs these races in the Xfinity Series to win, and he hasn't been able to do that. He's got a handful of top 5 finishes in the few starts he has this year, so this will be a refreshing trip to victory lane if he's able to pull it off. He's in the last few corners.
Yeah, this is his 7th race of 2023, and now through the final turns here. 11, 12, 13, and coming up on 14. Almost an 8-second lead over Sam Mayer. It's Ty Gibbs. Gibbs is going to win at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Kligerman and Creed. Creed sliding a little bit there as he came out of 13.
Yeah, I'm going to take her home. All the way out, clear by 4.
Mayer finished second. Allmendinger, Austin Hill, Allgaier, and then Cole Custer and Parker Kligerman. Sheldon Creed, Gralla, and Moffitt rounding out the top 10. Gibbs already starting his burnout.
Doing his burnout was where guys were still coming at pace in turn 1.
Gibbs continuing to celebrate all the way around this track. His previous best finish this season was 3rd at COTA.
Yeah, so many wins last year in the Xfinity Series. I think, he and a lot of people believe.
You are awesome. Thank you so much.
He would win a lot when he came and ran these races, and it's been a little bit of a struggle. Been more difficult than I think he or the rest of us thought it would be this year, but you can see how excited he is to get this win.
Does a burnout there in turn 7.
There you go.
Making it difficult for some of these guys to get back to pit road in the garage. Again, tomorrow he'll start in the top 10 in the Cup race. And a lot of competition in front of him there. The reigning Xfinity Series champion after he won the championship last year at Phoenix. It was announced he would take over at Joe Gibbs Racing in the Cup car. Making just a few starts. This one his 7th in the Xfinity Series this year, focusing mostly on all of the racetracks for the Cup Series. He continues to burn out all the way around this track.
Don't scuff the brakes up.
Might not have any tread on the back tires.
They're flat.
So the 20-year-old will climb out of the car, and he wins at the historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Crew jogging down to meet him on the front stretch.
That was an impressive full circuit burnout.
Remember, in turn 7, he also did a few donuts. And Dave is down there to talk to the winner.
Hey, he's giving out hugs right now, Rick, to everybody on his racing team here. And it took the reigning champion of the Xfinity Series 7 tries this year, but you are finally in victory lane. Does it seem like it's about time?
Yeah, definitely about time. Really cool to get one here at the Brickyard. I grew up racing go-karts in Newcastle right down the street, so really special to me. Thank you. He gets us. All glory to Jesus Christ. Awesome car. Great car. Thank you, Jason Radcliffe. This is the man right here. And Jason did such a great job. Thank you. This is just so special to me.
Take us back to racing nearby, Ty, and knowing that this place was here and what it might mean someday to win.
Yeah, really cool. I've raced go-karts right down the street with a bunch of kids, you know, so I mean, some of them are in IndyCar now, so it's cool to kind of, we're all just at this level, so really special. We got the Brickyard, let's go.
Speaking of levels, you've got some work to do tomorrow, right? Just barely above that cut line. What does this do for your tomorrow? I know the cars are very different, but what'd you learn today?
Just go win.
You feel like you know the track better?
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, track time's great, so thank you that he gets us, to Monster Energy, to all these guys. Thank you to Mitch Covington, David Gallen. Man, let's go.
All right, 7th try is a charm. He's in victory lane today.
All smiles. Remember, at the beginning of this race, he started second to A.J. Allmendinger, but it didn't take him long to get by A.J. And then, after a red flag for lightning delay, he went back out and began his domination. And in the end, almost an 8-second margin of victory for Ty Gibbs, who gets his first win here on the road course at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Back in my day, we didn't have all these types of fancy chicken.
Pretty sure you have buffalo wings and fried chicken.
Well, we didn't have garlic parm or sweet bourbon barbecue.
And he had to walk uphill both ways.
And it snowed every time.
Yeah, right, Grandpa. You're from Miami.
Oh, hey. Buying a car from Vroom is so easy. All you need is a phone and a finger. Just go to vroom.com, scroll through thousands of cars, then tap to buy. That's it. No sales speak, no wasted time. Just straight up great cars. Right from your phone to your driveway. Go to vroom.com and pick your favorite. Oh yeah, she digs it. Buy your car on vroom.com. Vroom, get in.
Come on, Charlie!
Get crafts, sporting goods, restaurants, and the future of NASCAR all from your neighborhood. DoorDash.
Tomorrow, things get underway at 2 o'clock on NBC for Countdown to Green in the Cup Series. Racing just after 2:30, and of course, the NASCAR American Post Race Show right after the checkered flag flies on Peacock. And the celebration has already begun. More NASCAR and motorsports coverage always available on NBCSports.com. Coming up next on USA, it'll be Chicago PD. Sheldon Creed needing to have a good finish. Ian Parker Kligerman hovering right around that cut line. Well, 1 point difference between the two from the way they started the race. It was chaotic at times on the track, but in the end, It was a dominant victory for the 20-year-old out of Charlotte. Ty Gibbs wins on the road course at Indianapolis.